For some context, this debate is a long one, so grab the popcorn and watch this guest absolutely embarrass herself.
Alrighty. Why do you support Trump?
I don't support all of his policies, but I do support a majority of them. Specifically, I like what he does regarding like male and female specific spaces would probably be my number one.
Really? Because, I mean, he bragged about walking into the changing rooms of naked women while they're changing without their consent, where multiple 18-year-olds came out, said there were 4 girls as young as 15 years old in these changing rooms. So I'm really confused as to why you think that he's good on that when he admitted himself to violating that.
Yeah, I mean, number one, I think that's a little bit of a pivot, but I mean, I'll go ahead and address it.
That's not a pivot. That's quite literally directly on topic.
Okay. So I don't support him as a person. I don't think he's a good person, in all honesty. But that doesn't change the fact that his policies are still like doing the right thing, in my opinion.
Okay. Would you say that it makes sense at all to say that you care about preventing men from being in women's spaces if you vote for someone that bragged about doing that to commit sexual exploitation themselves?
Yeah, with the
But
position that he's in, he's going to do that regardless. So if he's promised to make a policy in regards to it anyways, then why would I not vote for him?
so you're saying he's going to sexually exploit women and children regardless, so you're willing to support him because he's going to do it regardless?
No, I'm saying that he wasn't president at the time when he did that. Once again, he did that
So?
in 1977, by the way. He was 34. It was
Wait, that's just not true.
1977.
Not
Yeah, it
true.
is. He
Nope,
admitted to
this
it
is
on the
the
Howard Stern show in 2005, but
Yep.
it happened in 1977.
No, because there were literally victims that came out from Miss Teen USA and Miss USA from the 90s and 2000s that talked about the fact that this happened to them.
Okay, so once again, it started in 1977. That was over 50, no, not quite 50 years ago.
And even if it
49.
was, that's not evidence that he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, once again, I mean, number one, you're not addressing my fact about the male and female specific spaces that
I
I'm
like
for.
am. You're not acknowledging that Trump himself has
No,
literally
you're right.
sexually
He did.
exploited
Yes, he did.
women and you're
Number
willing to
one,
overlook that. Like, can you name a single policy of Kamala Harris's that you disagree with?
yeah, I disagree with her opinions, which she didn't specifically have
No,
like policies
opinions
that
are
she
I
implemented.
asked you for policy, not opinion.
Yeah, she didn't have any policies that she implemented because she
She
wasn't
she had
president.
no policies she implemented. Well, the Inflation Reduction Act through she had the most tie-breaking votes of any
Oh,
vice
are you
president
talking
in
about
U.S.
policies
history.
that she had as vice president?
I'm talking about policies she supported or specifically policies that were passed. Answer either.
I mean, number one, the Inflation Reduction Act that you just talked about, which I would be in support of that, yeah. Um,
You support the
but
Inflation
then
Reduction. So then, what specific policy in relation to men and women's spaces does Kamala Harris support that you disagree with?
well, it's not that she has a policy that she's specifically commented. I'm sure she does. I'm not familiar with it. But I
Okay.
know that she is. I know that she's pro transgender, things like that. So I
Pro
know that
trans people.
she,
So by the way, you don't even know
yeah,
her specific position. You're just saying because she's pro trans people.
yeah, because she's pro trans people and
So
she's
by the
pro
way, you're
trans
willing to vote for
rights.
the rapist, fascist, felon that tried to undermine our democracy and is literally sending us to war right now because of the fact that Kamala Harris supports trans people.
I mean, I don't think that he's necessarily a rapist.
He was held liable of forcefully penetrating Carroll's vagina against her will amongst a unanimous decision of 9 people in a jury. He has 26 plus people that have accused him of sexual misconduct. He's bragged about grabbing women by the vagina without asking, which is literally sexual assault. And he was credibly accused by a minor in the Epstein files who got a settlement with the Epstein estate and was determined to
Yeah.
make credible
So
accusations towards Epstein. And another one of
the
the.
conviction that he had, that was static. Um, yeah, that was civil.
So that doesn't mean that it's not
He,
true.
yeah, he. You're right. It doesn't mean that it's not true, but it doesn't mean that it is true either, right?
It means that there was evidence. So we're showing a pattern of behavior with all of this evidence we're taking into consideration together.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so with all of this evidence, why don't you say that you don't support Trump anymore? Because this is very good reason to believe that Donald Trump has done this.
I'm sorry, it cut out for me. What'd you say?
This is very good reason to believe that Donald Trump has done this. Why doesn't this get you to realize that that is the case? At what point would you accept the evidence?
Yeah, when it's absolute.
So it has to be 100% certain for you to accept it to be true.
That's typically how absolute is used. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think Jeffrey Epstein is a rapist and a pedophile?
Yes.
Okay. Are you absolutely certain about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a logical possibility that he isn't?
I mean, I wouldn't say that it violates a law of logic, like
Okay, so to
in
clarify,
reference to the three laws.
certainty means that it's logically impossible to the contrary.
Sure,
That's
then
what
I'll say
certainty means.
99.9% would be absolute, in my opinion. I
Okay,
could reform that to 0.1%.
okay, so to clarify, right? If someone is convicted in a criminal court to have sexually abused someone, would you accept it?
I would have to look at the case myself.
Okay, so you don't accept cases unless you've looked at them yourself. You don't like typically accept the determinations of convictions?
I mean, typically, if I see it in like a heading and it's not anybody that I know or anything that's going to have effect on my everyday life, I'm probably not going to look further into it. But obviously, this is the president of the United States, and this is somebody that, well, I didn't vote for him at the time because I wasn't of age. But
You said you're going to look into it more. Can you name one piece of evidence in the E. Jean Carroll case that you dispute?
yeah, I actually have notes for it. Do you want me to pull them up?
Go ahead and name one specific piece of evidence you dispute.
Okay, hold on.
Do you have any off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. No, I wrote this down probably like 6 months ago. So,
Okay. Angelica, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Put some W's for them in the comment section right now. That would be a good point to bring up. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. As well as Ray, thank you so much for the dollar as well. Thank you very much. And Misty, thank you for the $5. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Can we some W's for them in the comment section right now? I'll make sure to look into that. Thank you. Or make sure to bring that one up, I mean. Billy Jane, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you so much on PayPal. I really appreciate it, of course. Thank you so much. I literally always will. Thank you so much, Billy Jane. Always good to see you. Kim, thank you so much for the $1.27. Thank you. Seriously, at this point, I need to. Nicole, thank you for the dollar. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And I think I am fully caught up. If you're on YouTube, again, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. And if you want to support me, as always, Venmo, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat, as always.
okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So number one, I would talk about the fact that she doesn't remember when it happened. I mean, I feel like if I was raped, I would remember when it happened, and she has no clue when it happened. She has a span of like 5 years where it could have happened, but she doesn't know.
Wrong. You're wrong. So it was a span of 1 year, 1995 to 1996. That's within 1 year. Many victims don't remember the specific year, month, or day, or time, or day of the week, for example. That doesn't mean it didn't happen to them. That's trauma
Yeah, you're right.
that then
Many
leads to
victims
people
don't.
not specifically remembering those certain details. Now, let me ask you this question. Do you think someone that doesn't have the capacity to tell you the exact time in which it happened, do you believe that it didn't happen to them?
No, but I believe that it's a possibility it couldn't have. Yeah,
Okay, so to
I believe
clarify,
it's ambiguous, which
so
leaves
to
room for
clarify, if
questioning.
this is true for a person, would you believe them?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Yeah, if it were true for a person, right, that they don't have that, right, they don't know the specific day it happened to them, would you believe them?
I would be inclined to believe them. I wouldn't say that I would 100% be like, oh yeah, that definitely happened. But I would probably be inclined to believe them, yes.
So you'd still be inclined to believe them. So this isn't a reason to not believe them. Fail. Name a piece of evidence in the case you dispute. You still failed to mention a piece of evidence in the case you dispute. Your notes were
Okay,
even
yeah.
wrong about the case.
Okay, so the DNA that she has on the dress, it was not identified to be anybody's. Now I know that Trump didn't provide a sample.
Yeah, why
Um,
didn't... So it was just unidentified male DNA. This isn't a thing that you would dispute. More or less just that Donald Trump didn't give up his DNA within the multiple years allotted to give it up. Which, by the way, shows that he's kind of guilty. Like, because of the fact that if he had the ability to say that he wasn't at the scene of the crime. He never met her. There's no way that she has his DNA, and he should have given up his DNA because it would have proved that he wasn't at the scene of the crime. But that just tells us that very likely he does think that he was at the scene of the crime, and therefore it would have incriminated him, and that's why he didn't give up his DNA.
Yeah, if I held as much controversy as Donald Trump did, I wouldn't want to put my DNA out there into some kind of database anyways, because
it's not it's not used in a database. This is a civil court simply just to verify whether or not this was applicable. It was not put into any database beyond that. Plus, as president, he's already given up his DNA to do that to the general system. So, by the way, this is for a civil case. The civil case can't even get access to that broader database that the government would already have.
This case took place before he ran for president, so that would be irrelevant.
No, this case took place while he literally was running for president the third time. Or before he was going to run for president the third time. I apologize.
Okay, before he was elected president. Let me put it that way.
He was already elected for his first term.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of when the case happened, like when the event happened.
Yeah, when it happened, 1995 to 1996. Which, by the way,
okay,
you said it was within 5 years. You didn't even know that it was with 1995 to 1996.
Yeah, I said 5 because I was looking at the 1995.
Interesting.
Regardless of whether he provided or not, there was no DNA evidence. So I would still say that that's something that I would have some kind of contention with. There's no DNA evidence.
Yeah, because Donald Trump didn't give up his DNA, not because she didn't bring up any evidence that she would have been able to verify if Donald Trump gave up his DNA. Is he
under an obligation to give up his DNA?
No, he's not legally obligated because it's a civil court, but he should give up his DNA in that circumstance because it makes him look guilty if he doesn't.
So
doesn't it make him look guilty? Like, come on, be real.
If they don't do
be
something?
Real. Doesn't that make him look guilty?
No, I don't think so. No, I think that it's
okay. I just think you're being dishonest, or you're just like genuinely like you can't fathom like critically thinking for once. Like genuinely, this is not a hard thing to think.
I mean, I think that's just a difference of opinions in analyzation. But
oh no, it's not. That's just you being dishonest. It objectively makes him look guilty because if he was innocent and he never met her like he said he never met her, which, by the way, was obviously proven wrong because there's a picture of them shown together, then he would have given up his DNA because he would have been able to prove them wrong. For example, if someone was literally trying to destroy my reputation by saying that I assaulted them and I knew I had never met them in my life and we were in the context of a court system and I didn't want to have to give up a bunch of money, I would give up my DNA to prove that wasn't true, not only because I don't want to have to give up a bunch of money, but also because I care about my reputation. Right?
Cool. I mean, number one, his reputation is already very slandered.
Okay, wait. So you're saying Donald Trump doesn't care to uphold his reputation? That's bullshit. Donald Trump cares the most out of anyone to uphold his reputation. Let's just be very honest right there. But clearly, everyone would want to do that. Everyone in that circumstance who was innocent would do it. If you were guilty, you clearly wouldn't. But if you were innocent, you would totally give it up. And if you wouldn't give it up and you're innocent, you're just genuinely pretty stupid. Like, why would you rather give up tens of millions of dollars, if you're Trump in that scenario, than just give up your DNA to prove that you weren't at the scene of the crime? Like, that's just fucking ridiculous. She's literally alleging that it's his DNA. If he proves that it's not his DNA, that shows that he's not at the scene of the crime. That would have been your argument. You would have started with that argument. Okay? But that isn't something that Trump can do because he thinks it's probably going to incriminate him.
Okay, so 2 things about that. Number one, I never said that he doesn't care to uphold his reputation. The only thing I said is that his reputation was already slandered. That doesn't mean that he doesn't care to uphold it. And then the second thing that I would add to that is also, I mean, I would bet tens of thousands of dollars, not that I have that, but if I did, I would bet tens of thousands of dollars that his lawyer advised him not to give up DNA because people being not adjudicated by a court of law because it is a civil case, but people in civil cases do not voluntarily give up DNA.
No, so then, again, that would be a really stupid thing because, again, it was relevant to him running for the election. It was relevant towards him in general and how he was treated in society, and it would be tens of millions of dollars. So any lawyer that would tell you to do that in that circumstance is stupid. If you are genuinely innocent and a lawyer tells you to do that, they are a stupid lawyer. Genuinely. Why?
Okay, there's some
because there's
stupid
no
lawyers out
way
there.
they could have your DNA if you are innocent, a lawyer that is good, right, and they were trying to defend you, right? Obviously good in like they're trying to defend you, not necessarily morally good, but given that they are actually doing their job, right, trying to defend you, right, they would tell you to not give it up if it's possible that it would incriminate you.
I don't necessarily. I mean, I think you don't think it's possible that it could have incriminated him. If you were looking at my standpoint, I'm sorry, because I know 100% that
No,
you
I
think
think
it
it
would
would
have.
have incriminated him because it would have shown that he was at the scene of the crime after he claimed he never met her, which was a complete and blatant lie.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm asking you, from my point of view, do you not think that it would be possible for some kind of DNA evidence to incriminate him, regardless of whether he was actually the assailant or not?
Oh, no, definitely not. Want to know why? Because there were only a few people on that dress. It was her, her friends that she's really close to at that time that were within close proximity to her, and one unidentified male. So it's only people that were within close proximity to her, not just people that were around her or touched her or things like that. It was people in close proximity enough to be able to leave a trace of DNA that, by the
Yeah,
way,
that's
would stay
as far as
around
we
for
know.
decades.
That yeah, I know DNA lasts for decades. Once again, because this was in 1995 to 1996, like you said. Um, and also like those are just the people that we know about. Also, a possibility that I've considered, which obviously I have nothing to back this up, but just like a possibility that I have thought is that it potentially could have been consensual at the time, and then later when he gained this fame, and then all of these not gained this fame, but when he gained the political fame that he had, and all of these people were coming out and saying these things, she decided to come out too because she wanted money.
So you're
But
saying
I
that,
have nothing to
so
back
you
that
said
up.
E.
That's
Jean
just a
Carroll
theory
was
that I have.
doing this for money? Is that what you just said?
I said that it's a possibility she could have been, but like I said, I have
So, by
nothing
the
to
way,
back that
this is
up.
said about every person that tries to hold their abuser accountable in court. It's just said about all of them. That's
Okay.
just meant to demean them, not actually because it's true. So
I'm
this
just
is the
saying that's a
only.
theory I have. I didn't say that's what happened.
She was already a millionaire prior to this. Let me clarify that.
Okay, if I was a millionaire, I'd still want another $1 million.
But would you lie? Would you
Would
make
I
up
lie? No, but that doesn't mean that somebody
would you
else
make up
wouldn't.
claims? Would you make up claims about sexual abuse about someone that when that never happened in order to get millions of dollars from someone?
Personally, I wouldn't, but that doesn't mean that somebody else wouldn't either.
So again, but you have no reason. If someone did do
Yeah,
that,
I just
it's
told you I have
wait.
nothing to back
If
this up.
someone
This
did
is
do
just me
that, it's
putting something out
unlikely that
there.
they had a consistent story over multiple decades. It's unlikely that they had multiple friends that they told at the time that this happened to them. Why would she tell her friends decades ago and then wait decades just to be able to make money from it?
Like I said, I don't know. That's just a theory I have. I just said that I'm just putting
But
that
like
out there.
it's
Putting that out there.
unreasonable to believe in theory.
Yeah, you're right. It I literally just said I'm putting it out there. That's it.
Okay, I know, but like I'm responding to it and giving it criticism.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. Do you want
Okay.
to hear anything else that I had a problem with about the case, or do you want to move on to something else?
Yeah, I do want to hear other things you had problems with the case because I don't think you mentioned a single piece of evidence you actually disputed legitimately.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just disputed the fact that there was no DNA evidence. But then
There
also, like,
was. It's just Donald Trump didn't give up his DNA, so it wasn't able to be
there was no
cross-referenced.
DNA match. We'll put it that way.
Because there was no cross-reference, only because Trump didn't give up his DNA within the allotted time, not because she didn't provide something in which could have been cross-referenced.
Yeah, I know.
That's a very relevant fact.
Okay. Something else I would say. I'm sure you've heard of the Access Hollywood tape.
Yeah, he bragged about grabbing women by the vagina without asking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think that's exactly what he said word for
It's
word, but
exactly what he said.
that's
So
what
he's
he
able
said
to,
word for word. We have to
yeah,
grab them by the vaginas without asking. That's what he
yeah.
said word for word.
Well, I'm obviously like he said. He said pussy. Like
And did he say without asking?
yes, he said I don't even have to ask.
Okay, I'll take your word for it because I mean I don't think he would lie on a live stream of 7,000 people. Um, but no, I would just say that that's character evidence. That's it.
So that's character evidence to indicate that he's admitted to engaging in behavior just like this.
Yeah, did you know that under Rule 404 of the Federal Rules of Evidence, character evidence is not admitted?
This was admitted in the court because prior acts are relevant.
Prior acts can be relevant. They're not always relevant. I would say that
But
this is
in this case, it
prejudicial
was
character evidence.
in this case it was relevant. That's what the jury determined.
Um, yeah, the jury. Well, number one, the jury doesn't determine what evidence gets admitted or not. That's the judge.
No, the jury determines what evidence they see to be reliable, and it was
Yeah, you're
admitted,
right. I'm
and
saying
it
that
was
this
taking
shouldn't
into
have been admitted
consideration.
as evidence. I'm saying this shouldn't have been admitted as evidence because it's
Was it
character
ruled to be
evidence.
irrelevant by the judge?
Not by the judge, no, but I'm just
Okay.
saying that that's a piece of evidence that I have a contention with. I think it was character evidence.
Okay, but like there's nothing wrong with using that. The judge didn't indicate anything wrong with that. Neither did the jury.
Sure, they don't have to for me to have a contention with it as character evidence.
So
I'm
do you
just
think
looking
that
at the federal
do you
rules of
think the fact
evidence,
that
that's
someone
all.
has sexually abused someone in the past would be evidence towards the fact that they'd be likely to
That's
sexually
not
abuse a
evidence
different
that they
person?
have sexually abused somebody in the past. Nowhere did he say that I have done
No,
that.
and no, hold up. If someone, like, think about this. If you believe that someone has sexually assaulted someone in the past, would that be evidence to bring into court to say that they sexually abused someone else that is accusing them?
Yeah, probably, but I don't think
Okay,
that this tape is evidence of that.
so you do take prior acts to be relevant.
It depends on the context, like you're saying,
Yeah,
but I
like
don't
him
think that this was
admitting to
evidence of
literally
that.
sexually assaulting women would be relevant prior character.
Yeah, well, he's not admitting to sexually assaulting women.
He literally is. Grabbing women by the vagina without asking is sexual assault.
Let's just, so that we both have it fresh on our minds word for word, can you play it? Because I'm sure you have it pulled up right now.
I don't have it pulled up right now, but I can.
Sure.
You want to say something while I bring it up?
You should get an eyebrow piercing.
I meant like something related to the live.
Oh, double tap the screen.
I'm not telling you to tell people to double tap the screen.
I know, I'm being.
I meant like, do you have another political point to bring up?
Oh, I mean, I already brought up at the beginning male and female specific spaces for transgender issues, but you didn't address that. You just kind of pivoted to the dressing rooms, which, by the way, pageant dressing rooms aren't female specific.
In this case, it was, right? And literally, he was saying it was himself. Donald Trump said no men were in there. That's literally what
Yeah, he
Trump
did
said
say that.
himself.
I mean, I don't believe that there's never been a man in the dressing room for the Miss USA pageant. There might
So
not have been in this
Trump literally
instance.
said no men were around.
Yeah, I know, I've heard it. I'm just saying that in general, pageant dressing rooms are not female specific.
Okay, so you're saying that dressing rooms in general aren't female specific. In this context, it was. Trump said it was
Pageant
himself.
dressing rooms. Pageant dressing rooms. Dressing rooms for
Yeah,
women are female specific.
you
Just like
understand that in
bathrooms
this
for women
context it
are
was. When
female specific.
we're talking about Miss Teen USA and Miss USA. We know what it was. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, you're just
those
not
are pageant
acknowledging the
dressing
truth.
rooms. Yes, those are not female specific. Pageant dressing rooms in general are not female specific. There's people going in and out of those rooms all the time for various reasons.
Here, I'm just gonna play this clip. It's him hearing it in a deposition. I'm pretty sure it's him defending it, and this might include
Did
it.
you or anyone on your staff reach out to anyone at Bergdorf Goodman?
I didn't have to reach out to anybody because it didn't happen. And by the way, if it did happen, it would have been reported within minutes. Very busy store, by the way. The most
Hold up, going to
ridiculous,
the part.
disgusting store.
Does it play?
I saw it with as much respect
Give me one
as I
second.
can.
Okay.
And the only
I asked the photo that you were just referring to in this photo?
that's Marla. Yeah, that's
Oh,
Marla.
that's him mistaking E. Jean Carroll for his ex-wife.
And the woman on the right is your
Give me one second.
Accusing me, and so are you, of a thing you can do, the worst charge. And you're a disgrace. But she's accusing me, and so are you.
Okay, I don't see the. I gotta bring up the particular clip. Give me one second. So
You're good. So, like, no eyebrow piercing or.
no,
Damn.
definitely not because you told me to.
Are you serious? Would you have gotten it if a Kamala supporter told you to or advised you to?
Oh, absolutely.
Bruh.
I'm just trolling. I wouldn't have got it either way. My girlfriend and friends or her friends brought it up like recently, and I was like, I probably wouldn't.
It doesn't
Okay.
hurt. I have one. It feels like a like
Well,
you're
I'm
getting
not saying it hurts or it's anything bad. I just don't want one myself.
the modification.
Give me one quick second. This is taking a minute to find this because there's a million different things about it, not necessarily just
I
the.
I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I know it
Here,
exists. I've
here
heard
we
it
go.
before.
I moved on her, actually. You know, she was down in Palm Beach. I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and her. She was married.
It's huge news, Sarah.
No, Nancy. No, this was marriages. And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there. And she was married. Then all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look.
Jeez, your girl's hot as shit. In the purple.
Whoa!
Yes.
Whoa!
Yes, the Donald has scored.
Whoa!
Oh, my man. Wait, you gotta look at me when you get out. You're like,
Set this up.
That is
will
very
you give me the thumbs
Look at
up?
you. You are a
You
piece.
gotta put the thumbs up. You gotta get the thumbs up. Can't be too happy.
Yeah, let me.
It's very
You
funny.
gotta give me the thumbs up.
You and I will walk down.
Oh my god.
Some Tic Tacs just in case they start kissing her.
There we go.
That's her, with the gold. I gotta use some Tic Tacs just in case they start kissing her.
Hold up, give me a second. It's taking a minute.
You're good.
It's like a magnet. Back to the beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just like, I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
Can you replay like the last 10 seconds?
I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just like, I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy.
Is he saying and when you're a star?
Yeah. So by the way, you can go in the deposition. He defends this. He's saying it's been largely true for about the past million years that stars have been able to just go up people and grab them by the vagina without asking.
I don't think it was without asking. I'm saying I think what he's saying, which I think it could be misimplied, but I think what he's saying is that when you're a star, people will let you do that.
So by the
That's
way,
how I took that to mean.
yeah, when you say let doesn't mean that they've consented. Because when you say let, someone could freeze down. That doesn't mean that they've consented. So
Someone
because
could
they
what?
don't prevent you doesn't mean that they have said yes.
Yeah, I think that what he's saying. Do you not believe in implied consent?
Well, I do think that there was none here. He said you don't even have to ask.
I didn't hear him say you don't. Oh, I did. You're right. I did. And this is the Access Hollywood tape, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I would still say that. I mean, I see how somebody could take it to mean that. That's not how I take it. So I still think that this was prejudicial character evidence. Yeah, and I would stand with that.
But it's still relevant.
No, because I don't think it's relevant
How is
because
it
it
not?
doesn't
How is
ascribe.
it not relevant? Him talking about grabbing women by the vagina without asking. How is that not relevant towards a case where he's accused of doing just that against someone's will?
He's saying that they're going to let me do that. That's what he's saying. That's
by the
not
way,
sexual assault.
You're not listening. I've just explained this to you. Letting someone do this to you is not evidence that you've consented. Do you think that letting someone do something to you is evidence that you've consented?
I think that in the case he meant it, he's talking about implied consent.
Wait, do you think letting something happen is evidence that you've consented? Yes or no?
It can be evidence that you've consented. It depends on the context, and in this context, I think it was implied consent.
So you say that this is implied consent, but there's an example where it's not, and yet you still say that that's implied consent. Secondly, like when you say implied consent, when he says he doesn't wait, when he doesn't ask, how does he know?
He didn't say he doesn't wait.
Because like yeah, he says he doesn't wait. That's literally what he said.
He said he doesn't wait.
Yeah, you want me to play it again?
Yeah.
You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just like, I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
I did not hear don't even have to wait.
What? Listen.
Point it out when he says it.
It's like a magnet. You just I don't even wait. And when you're
I don't think that's what he said.
You just
Like I
heard
hear
it.
No, I hear it, but I don't think that's what he's saying. I would say that's inaudible.
Listen.
it's like a magnet. You just I don't even wait. And when you're starting
What was he saying? I don't even
know.
wait.
I can't tell. I cannot tell.
automatically attracted to
And I'm not even being disingenuous. I genuinely cannot tell.
Listen, then just
You know-
listen. Listen.
Okay.
like a magnet. You just I don't even wait. And when you're
Can you
I
slow it
don't
down?
even wait. I think that's obviously I don't even wait. I don't know how you deny that one.
I personally don't hear. That's fine. Somebody else might hear that. You hear that. That's fine. 34 people in your chat, 41, they hear it. That's fine. That's not what I heard.
It's not just 40 people in the chat, it's the entire chat. Everyone here, like even Trump supporters typically accept this. Like when he's not waiting, that implies he's not asking, right?
Okay.
That there's not even a consideration of that. He just does it.
We could also take that to mean, like, say that you go out on a date with somebody new. You guys spend like all day together. You're taking her home, and you kiss her, but you don't ask first. But it's implied that you can. Do you think that's sexual assault?
So I think that there can be a consent that's established part of that. Well, by the way, in these circumstances, I do ask. I think it's important to ask and have those conversations prior and to know that it's established prior. He's talking about just going up to people and doing this. Not like they had a date, they had some sort of prior context specifically where they were both specifically showing that they were interested, right? And things like that. But do I think it's important to ask? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it is important to ask, but I do think there's cases where implied consent is also enough.
This is also isn't just kissing too. It's also grabbing them by the vagina.
Yeah, I know. I was just using that as an example.
Do you think that if a person on a date, especially like a first date, for example, grabs someone by the vagina in that circumstance without asking, without waiting, do you think that's sexual assault?
It depends on the context. It can be.
I don't know what context in which that wouldn't be, like, genuinely.
Right,
like,
we don't know the context. That's the thing.
Let me clarify. Like, you do not just in typical circumstances go up to people and do things like that.
No, you're right. But if you're in a setting where it's appropriate and we don't know the setting that he's referencing.
But we do, because she literally explained how it was inappropriate.
Who explained?
E. Jean Carroll. She accused Trump of sexual abuse. She determined that to be true in a civil court, unanimously amongst a jury of 9 people.
He's not saying that he did that to her.
What?
He's not saying that he grabbed her. He's just saying that in general.
He's saying in general he did this. And then it's matching up with this story. There was also, he said he never met E. Jean Carroll. There was a picture of them shown together. He said he wouldn't have sexually abused E. Jean Carroll because she's quote unquote not his type, but then in a deposition mistook her with his ex-wife.
Yeah, no, he was attracted. He literally just said, what did he say? I moved on her or something like that. And he did lie about meeting her because there is a photo of them together. But if I had met somebody and I made a move on them and then later they accused me of sexual assault, I would probably say I'd never met them either, in all honesty.
What? Why?
Because they're falsely accusing me, and I feel like if there's
why
photographs
wouldn't you
of us
say
together,
I did meet them and the actions that we engaged in were consensual rather than lying and saying you never met them when you did? Why would you lie because they're lying? That makes no damn sense.
Yeah, because I would be afraid that the evidence of us together would be incriminating simply because we were together.
So being together is not evidence of a crime, right?
Okay, so then the picture of them together doesn't matter?
Not if he didn't lie about it.
And
if
the
it was
picture
if it was just them shown together, that's not evidence of a crime.
Okay, so the picture of
that's evidence
Trump
that they were together.
The picture of people from the Trump administration with Jeffrey Epstein isn't evidence of a crime?
Well, I do think pictures of them on the island specifically, right, is evidence of a crime because of the fact that there are conditions of this is a known sex trafficking island of children. Okay?
Okay, so do you think that the pictures of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein off the island is evidence against him?
What? Well, I'm not saying pictures can't ever be evidence. I'm confused what your argument is here.
Yeah, you're saying that this
This is
picture.
just a picture of them together, hanging out like at a party. That's not
Yeah,
evidence
are you
that
saying?
he's committed a crime.
Are,
That's just
okay,
evidence
so
that they
you're
were
not claiming that
together.
this is evidence.
No, no. The picture's evidence that he lied, and the picture of
Okay,
Howard Lutnick is evidence that he lied when he said that he wasn't on the island.
I'll agree with you on that, and I don't like Howard Lutnick.
Okay, so Trump's not firing him, so.
I know, and he probably should. Yeah, like I said, I don't like Trump. I mean, I like Trump, but I don't like him as a person. I don't agree with most of the things that he, not most of the things. I don't agree with a lot of things that he does. I don't like the way that he talks about women. It's very objectifying. But I also like some of his opinions, and I think that those opinions are better than Kamala's opinions.
Yeah, but you can't tell me what, and also don't use that as a pivot. Let's fully go through what we
Yeah,
were just
you're right.
talking
No,
about.
I'm not trying to pivot. I'm just pointing that out.
But do you see, based upon what I'm saying right now, that it makes sense that Donald Trump did this and that the evidence is indicating his guilt?
I would say that it's like by preponderance of the evidence, I wouldn't say it's 51-49. I could see maybe 50-50, but I really
Well,
don't see 51-49.
every single juror on that jury disagrees with you.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm saying if I was viewing the case myself, I wouldn't say 51-49 or 99-1. I wouldn't say through preponderance of the evidence he's liable.
But he lied, said that they never met. When there's a picture of them
Yeah.
shown together, he said he didn't sexually abuse her, even though she's quote unquote because she's quote unquote not his type. But then in a deposition, mistook her with his ex-wife.
Yeah, he's definitely
We
a
played
liar.
that
I'm not
earlier.
saying
He's like,
he's
"Is
not
that
a liar.
Marla?" The picture that was shown of him with E. Jean Carroll, he asked if E. Jean Carroll was Marla, his ex-wife.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not a liar. He's definitely a liar. I'm just saying that
So
lying
explain to me,
doesn't automatically
why do you
make
believe
guilty.
him? Why do you believe him when he's lied, when she's been consistent, and there's no indication that she's lied?
Let's see. Why do I believe him when she's consistent and there's no indication that she's been lying?
Why do you believe him when he's a liar, when he's been proven to have lied in this scenario, right? Whereas you don't believe E. Jean Carroll, even though she's been consistent in every single context about the scenario, and you can't indicate any lie that she's told.
I think that her story is ambiguous. I do.
Okay. So that's not a lie that she's told. I'm asking, why do
No,
you
it doesn't have to
believe...
be a lie.
Wait, was Trump's story very specific, or was Trump's story ambiguous? So how is that
Trump
evidence
didn't
of...
really tell a story specific to the case. He just kind of, I
He
mean,
said
he
they
said that he
never
didn't tell
met.
the
That's a
story.
story.
Okay, you're right. And he did say they never met. So yeah, that's a lie. And I didn't say that he didn't lie, so.
So again, why isn't this enough?
I just personally don't think the evidence is convicting.
Convincing, you mean? So, but why? Like, why
Yeah,
is it not
convincing.
convincing?
I mean, from my point of view, like I said, and you're going to bring up the fact that he never submitted it, but I'm going to say there's no DNA evidence, which you can say
We already
implies
had
guilt,
that
but
conversation.
regardless, yeah, I know, I'm just saying regardless of whether it implies guilt or not, there's no DNA evidence to convict him.
So you were saying implied consent is something that can be established, but implied guilt can't?
No implied guilt can. I'm just saying that this isn't implied guilt.
This is implied guilt. This absolutely is.
But this also has nothing to do with him being president.
So you said this has nothing to do with him being president. It does. If you've sexually abused someone, you shouldn't be able to run for president. I think it should be illegal. If you've been held civilly liable of sexually abusing someone, it should be illegal for you to run for president of the United States. I think we should be able to agree on this bipartisanly. Why can't we?
Well, number one, a civil conviction doesn't hold up. It has no legal effect on anything. It wasn't a legal case. It wasn't.
I'm just asking, can we agree people convicted in a criminal court or held civilly liable of sexual abuse, they should, in that context, be not allowed to run for president?
I mean, I would have to look at the case myself to determine that.
I don't.
I don't think that it should be.
Any person held liable of sexually abusing a woman, held civilly liable, held criminally convicted of doing so, whether it's a woman, child, or any person, they should not be able to be president of the United States. And I feel like
I would
every
say that if
American
you're-
should be able to say that same thing.
I feel like if you're criminally convicted, then no, you should not be able to run. If you're criminally convicted of sexual assault, then
Okay,
you should
but
not
if
be able
you're
to
held
run.
civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman, do you think you should be allowed to be a gym teacher?
It depends on the context.
It depends on the context. So you'd be okay with your kid's baby or your kid's gym teacher being held civilly liable of sexual abuse and still being able to be the gym teacher?
It depends on if the case is false or not.
Same evidence as
I
Trump.
mean, like,
Same
no, like
evidence as
prima
Trump.
facie.
You're saying that you'd be willing to let that teacher teach your kid, be your
Prima
kid's gym
facie, no.
teacher.
Prima facie, no.
So no,
Prima facie, no.
don't do that. Give me a yes or a no directly.
I can't give you a yes or no if it's dependent on context.
I'm asking you, right, in a general context.
In a general context, which could be correlated to prima facie, no. Yeah, no.
So
In a general context, no.
so you wouldn't support Trump because of the fact that you can acknowledge that you would accept it to be true if it were a gym teacher, but you can't accept it to be true when it's Trump. Let me ask you this question. Do you believe O.J. Simpson was innocent?
No.
Why not?
Yeah, I think that the one piece of evidence they had that pointed to him not being guilty was not enough.
What? I thought you have to prove that he was guilty.
Yeah, like I would say that would be like
He was
0.1%
found
chance
not
that
guilty
he's
in a
not
criminal
guilty.
court, but was held civilly
Yeah, I know.
liable.
I know, because the glove didn't fit, you must acquit, right? Yeah, I'm saying that
Wait,
right
by the way,
there.
I'm not saying I don't believe that he did this. What
No,
I
I
am
know.
saying,
You're using this as a
what I
parallel.
am saying is that if you accept the civil case here, even though there's not a criminal conviction, but you don't accept it with Donald Trump, that sounds like a double standard.
Well, O.J. Simpson was a criminal case.
So, and by the way, you're saying well, no, we're talking the civil case. He was held civilly liable, and he was found innocent in a criminal court, or not found guilty.
I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about because there's two different court cases, right?
Yeah, just civil and criminal.
No, I'm talking about with O.J. Simpson. Were there two different cases?
Civil and criminal, yes.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about his case, I'll be honest. I know more about the criminal case than I do about the civil one. And I don't know a lot about the criminal one, in all honesty.
Okay, well, the point I'm saying is that you're willing to accept it in that circumstance, even though you said, by the way, your defense for that was they didn't provide a good enough reason to say he didn't do this, which is not how the criminal justice system works. It's not that you have to provide evidence that you didn't do this. It's that you provide evidence that this did happen to,
I
or
know,
that they did do
because
this. Now,
prosecution
secondly,
they're not
then
pressed.
based upon your own argument there, Trump didn't give up his DNA. Wouldn't you be able to say the same thing about Trump?
If Trump did not give up his DNA,
Yeah, in the multiple years allotted, wouldn't that mean that you could say the same thing about Trump?
O.J. did give up his DNA.
I'm not talking about Jay. I'm talking about Trump.
I know, but I'm saying no, that wouldn't parallel because O.J. did give up his DNA and
You're
Trump
not understanding,
didn't.
because the parallel is to the defense. You're saying that they didn't provide a great enough defense that he didn't do this, okay? Well, I could say the same thing for Trump. He didn't provide a good enough defense that he didn't do this because he didn't give up his DNA to prove that he wasn't at the scene of the crime. Boom.
I mean, number one, you're right about the fact that like defense doesn't have burden of proof. You're right about that. So, how could I put this?
It just sounds like you hold the double standard.
In all honesty, I probably do to an extent. I feel like everybody holds a double standard in circumstances.
But that doesn't mean you should. That means you shouldn't, right?
Do you not think it's okay to hold a double standard in some circumstances?
No. I think you shouldn't do that.
Like ever?
Yeah, give me an example of a double standard you see to be justified.
Yeah. The exercise of bodily autonomy.
How is that a double standard?
I would say that in some circumstances you can exercise it, but in some circumstances you can't. That's a double standard.
That's not a so saying that a right will generally apply is not a double standard. because you'll provide relevant distinctions as to why it's provided in one scenario but not the other. Are you saying if you don't principally hold to a certain right, that then means you hold a double standard? That's incoherent.
Okay, let me put it as in if you hold bodily autonomy to be okay with one thing and not okay with the other, and you don't have a symmetry breaker between those two things, then
There
I
you
would
go,
say that's a
symmetry
double
breaker.
standard.
That's a relevant difference. So what was the lack of symmetry breaker?
I mean, I'd have to give you a specific example for bodily autonomy. Let me think.
Yeah, you'd have to say that would be applicable to us. Otherwise, you can't just say that in general.
Okay, I could say that abortion would be permissible for
So
for
what
people to
double standard
exercise.
do I hold? Name the specific double standard that I hold.
No, I'm setting up an example. I'm not saying you hold this. I'm just giving you an example of one and asking you if it would be okay for you to hold this. And maybe you do hold this. I don't know your own opinions. I'm saying so say that you think abortion is morally permissible, but then you don't think that it's okay for somebody to be a prostitute, but they're both exercising their bodily autonomy and there's no
What?
symmetry breaker.
So, wait, okay, so if someone has no symmetry breaker and they hold a standard that in one scenario you can exercise bodily autonomy but not in the other one, then yes, that would be a double standard. What you're not understanding is that would be if it was only based upon the exercise of bodily autonomy in that circumstance, and that you're saying that you are going to principally hold to it without providing relevant factors as to why you hold it in one scenario but not the other. Okay,
I mean, I guess
I
if I
don't see
were
how
to
that.
give you
This is not an argument that everyone holds to a double standard. Okay, this is not an argument that it's okay to hold two double standards. I'm confused what your point was.
I'm saying, well, I guess I don't know a specific standard, double standard that you would hold to because I don't know your opinions on everything.
So then, why can you make a claim about it like that? That like
I was just saying that I think in
everyone in
some
general
circum
has a double standard.
no, I'm just saying I think that it's okay to have double standards in certain circumstances, and that was an
Okay,
example of a double
but
standard that I
that's
think
not
would be okay to
a
hold.
double standard. I think is okay to hold.
Why not? Well, that's a pivot, but like you don't have to, like I won't say anything else after that,
Because
but can you answer
I
why
think that
not?
you should find a relevant difference as to why you hold it in one scenario comparative to another, if you do hold a difference in reason as to why you say that. Like what? Of course. Of course, like if you have a difference. Like for example, do you think it's okay for men to say that body count matters for women but not for men?
Yeah, I think that's a double standard.
And do you
It's
think that's
purity
okay to
culture.
hold to?
No.
Okay, so then isn't that proof of my point that you think it's not okay to hold to double standards unjustly without a morally relevant difference or a symmetry
Yeah,
breaker?
sure.
So
Sure.
like that,
Okay, I'll say that. Yeah.
so then like in general, you shouldn't hold to that. So then I don't know what argument is.
I mean, in reference to the E. Jean Carroll versus O.J. Simpson case, I'm sure that I have a morally relevant difference. I just don't know enough about the O.J. Simpson case to tell you what it is. Put it that way.
Okay, but like in general, like let me ask you this question then. What evidence would you accept in a civil case?
In a civil case, I would accept DNA evidence.
DNA evidence. If
Hmm.
the person in the civil case who did it doesn't give up their DNA, is there anything that would get you to accept that?
Um, Wait, accept it in what context? Like,
Like
accept that
to be
they're
true.
guilty, or accept I s- wait, accept that they're guilty?
Accept it to be true that they were sexually assaulted.
Okay, okay. I mean, I'm sure there would be other examples of what I would take for evidence to support it. I just can't think of
You
specifics.
don't know any specifics at all? No other pieces of evidence could you mention?
I mean, like videos of it happening, I would take that.
Okay.
Pictures
So
of it happening.
videos, pictures, and DNA, and that's it.
I'm sure there's more, but those are the top three. Put it that way.
Okay. So essentially, your point is that you need some unbearable level of evidence that essentially no victim will ever be able to maintain. And it's like
Not
at that point, like
necessarily.
if your friend came up to you and told you that they were assaulted, would you believe them?
I would probably believe them because I know them. Yes.
Okay. If someone that you didn't know but was one of your friend's friends, would you believe them?
Maybe. I don't know. I
Maybe
would
you don't
probably,
know.
like I said at the beginning, I would be inclined to believe them.
Do you think nurses should believe people that come to them?
Um, I don't think it matters whether they believe them or not. I mean, they have to proceed with
So
these
do you think a
specific
nurse
routines.
should believe them? I'm asking you.
Like normatively, I don't know. I think that's individual to the person.
Wow, so you wouldn't say in general that a nurse should believe a sexual assault
I,
victim that
I
comes
think
to
that
them and
people should
alleges
always,
that
I think
something
that,
happened to them?
I think people should always be inclined to believe the victim, put it that
So
way.
I think in general you would say that you would want to believe someone, right?
In general, yeah, I would want to believe somebody.
And that in general they'd be making an accurate determination, correct?
In general, yes.
Okay. So then wouldn't you have to say that there's reason in this scenario where you think it's not accurate? If in general you accept it?
Yeah, and we went all the way through this, the Access Hollywood tapes, the DNA.
Yeah, but none of that is reason why you don't accept it, right? In terms of the allegation.
In terms of, what do you mean in terms of the allegation?
Actually, how about this? Let's run this route. Do you think that if 26 plus people accuse someone of engaging in a certain type of behavior, that it's very likely that this person engaged in said behavior?
Yeah, it's probably likely that they did do that.
Like enough for you to believe it?
I mean, I would look at the specific case, but yeah, if somebody just told me, like, oh, by the way, did you hear about those 26 people that said this guy kidnapped them? I would say, no, I didn't. And I would probably say, oh, he probably kidnapped them and move on.
Okay, so Donald Trump
But
has been accused by 26 different people plus
I know.
of sexual misconduct. Given that that's true, would you say that you believe that Donald Trump has likely engaged in sexual misconduct?
Given that it's true that they accused him, or given that it's true that he did do that?
Given that it's true that he was accused by all of them.
Well, I mean, it is true that he was accused. And I
Of
would say
course.
likely it is that he did. I don't know all the specifics of all 26 people though.
Okay, I don't think you need to know. I'm saying in general, would that be something that you accept to be true?
Yeah, in general, that's something I would accept to be true. I already said that.
Okay, so then why wouldn't you accept it in this case then?
Because, well, number one, Donald Trump's a very famous person. He already has a lot of controversy about him. I've heard, which I'm not sure about this, I've heard that a lot of those 26 people actually knew each other prior.
What source did you get that from?
Like I think I said I just heard it. I don't know for sure. I'm not even sure where I heard it. Am I incorrect on that? I'm sure you know.
No evidence I've ever seen justified that.
Can I? Well, I can actually. Like, I have my computer. I can probably Google it.
Okay. In the meantime, let me thank a few people real quick. Madison, thank you so much for the $15. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Give some W's for them in the comment section right now. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Benjamin as well. Thank you so much for the $25. Thank you so much. Twice. Thank you so much. They said, yes, the presidency, the one job where the character apparently has no bearing whatsoever. Leadership is purely a technical position. Right, like operating a forklift. Character is irrelevant. That's why every leadership book famously ignores it, right? Thank you so much, Benjamin. I appreciate the $25. Can we get some W's for Benjamin in the comment section right now? As well as also think of the $25. They said, yes, the mysterious context that transforms bragging about sexual assault into a gentlemanly anecdote. But Occam's razor says, don't invent complicated stories. The simple explanation is he said exactly what he meant. Well, thank you so much, Benjamin. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Give some W's for Benjamin in the comment section. Angela, thank you so much for the $10 as well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm so sorry to hear that, Angela. That's absolutely crazy. I'm so sorry to hear that. Can we get some W's for Angela in the comment section right now? Thank you so much, Angela. I really appreciate it. Thank you. As well as Bree, thank you so much for the $2. Thank you. Bree, that must be someone who wouldn't actually, if someone is requesting you. Yeah, that's definitely not him. Yeah, as well as we both don't have Cash App, because our Cash Apps have been taken down. So I need to fix that still. I still haven't got a response back from Cash App about that, but it's really unfortunate. As well as Carolina, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $5. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. When do you usually go live? Usually either 9 a.m. Pacific time on weekdays, and then weekends I'm typically like 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But today I was 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or actually like around 4 actually. because of the fact that Dean went live a little bit earlier today, and my girlfriend took off the day so we could spend the day together. As well as Eric, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Give me some W's for Eric in the comment section right now. The Hollywood access came under the rule of 415 of Fed evidence under 404B as a pattern of behavior. I.e. modus operandi. The appellate court went into a lot of detail on this. It's published Carroll v. Trump 124 F 4th 140. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Eric. Can we get some W's for Eric in the comment section as well? Thank you. Did you find the information you were looking for?
Yeah, so not all of, I mean, obviously I wasn't expecting all 26 people to know each other, but some of them did know each other, and some of the incidents that they claimed happened at the same time together. Like, it was the same incident, if that makes sense.
So who?
So you know about Jessica Drake, right?
I think I'm familiar. I don't remember the specific allegation, though. I'd have to look back.
She's the one who, so it says Jessica Drake accused Trump of sexual misconduct during a 2006 golf tournament event in Lake Tahoe.
Mm-hmm.
So this was her and two other friends. And it happened, their case happened together.
Okay. And so multiple of them were Trump engaged in sexual misconduct towards. How is that evidence that this didn't happen?
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying that three people together. Okay, so for example,
so do you think that people can be sexually harassed in a group?
Yeah. I'm just like, okay, so for example, if a crime takes place, the first thing that police officers are supposed to do is separate the witnesses or separate the people who were there when it happened or the people involved, so that they don't create stories, which I'm not saying that this is a story. I'm just saying that the more people involved in an incident, the more likely the information that they present will be inaccurate, whether that's on purpose or not.
I heavily disagree with that. I think that's ridiculous to say that just because there's more information about something that means it's inaccurate. Like, do you think more people being witness of something is evidence that this didn't happen? What?
No, I'm saying when those three people are together, it's more likely that the stories they each have will differ slightly. And then from that, you can have misinformation that will occur.
So, you're talking about people who witnessed this happen to them, or that this also happened to themselves and they were giving the account that happened to them?
Yeah, that's what do you understand what I'm saying?
Which one? I asked you.
Okay, say it again. Sorry.
Let me play it back because I literally got caught off guard by you saying that. I was confused. Let me play it back.
That three people together. Okay, so for example,
So do you think that people can be sexually harassed in a group?
Yeah. I'm just like, okay, so for example, if a crime takes place, the first thing that police officers are supposed to do is separate the witnesses or separate the people who were there when it happened or the people involved, so that they don't create stories, which I'm not saying that this is a story. I'm just saying that the more people involved in an incident, the more likely the information that they present will be inaccurate, whether that's on purpose or not.
I heavily disagree with that. I think that's ridiculous to say that just because there's more information about something that means it's inaccurate. Like, do you think more people being witness of something is evidence that this didn't happen? What?
No, I'm saying when those three people are together, it's more likely that the stories they each have will differ slightly. And then from that, you can have misinformation that will occur.
So, you're talking about people who witnessed this happen to them, or that this also happened to themselves and they were giving the account that happened to them?
So I'm saying when they're giving the account that happened to them to the two other people who were also there, like, you would agree that each person's story for something that happened will be slightly different in whatever way, right?
They could, but it's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I'm saying it's a possibility in this case that would happen with the multiple people.
Why is your evidence just a possibility, and that's sufficient for you?
Well, your evidence is a possibility too.
No, mine is based upon evidence, based upon probability, not just possibility.
Yeah, I mean, mine would be based upon some kind of probability too. Once again, I said that it's very likely that individuals who were together after something happened, their stories will differ and misinformation can occur from that.
So
That's
I'm,
evidence.
I'm again not seeing a reason here. Like you're saying there are no differences. Can you provide me a case to say that there were zero differences in perspective?
No, there are differences in perspective. That's what I'm saying.
So if there are differences and you would expect that, how is it outside of the expectation?
Yeah, I'm saying that the differences that they have when they told each other stories, you tend to adapt the differences from somebody else's story to your story. And then they adapt a difference in the other person's story to their story. And it can get mixed up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're not making any sense to me.
Okay, well, then we can just move on.
Anything else you want to say before I go on to the next person?
Are you going to drop me?
I mean, I just asked you if you have anything else you wanted to say.
Oh, I mean, I came up here originally to talk about transgender issues, but you weren't interested in that.
Oh, no, I directly responded to that. You just weren't interested in applying that standard to Trump. So, like, when you brought that up, I'm saying you're comparing the two candidates, and you're saying because Kamala Harris supported some policy that, by the way, you weren't able to mention, you said that disqualifies Kamala Harris, but Donald Trump bragging about walking into the changing rooms of naked women while they're changing without their consent, you overlooked that. Him being held civilly liable of sexually abusing Eugene Carroll, the 26 plus people that accused him of sexual misconduct, being credibly accused by a minor in the Epstein files, him literally trying to prevent the release of the Epstein files. All of that is something you're able to overlook because Kamala Harris supports trans people. That was literally it. That's all you said.
Let me put it this way, okay. So you have the case of said man, which is Donald Trump, who may or may not be sexually preying on individuals. Or we have somebody else who's put into office who allows males into the women's bathroom, which increases sexual assault rates all over the
wrong.
country.
So trans women are not likely to assault cis women. Do you have any source that says that trans women being allowed into the women's bathroom increases the likelihood of sexual assault?
I think in general, I would consider it some kind of violation of consent for a man to walk into my bathroom.
Can you answer my question? Do you have a single study that justifies that trans women going into the women's restroom, right, is going to increase the likelihood of sexual assault?
Let me rephrase sexual assault.
No,
Any
no, no. I want
man
you
in
to
a
provide
woman's bathroom.
justification for that. That
No,
was
no,
an
I don't.
explicit claim
I'll
that
say
you
no.
made. You need to provide a justification for that.
Yeah, I'll say no, that it doesn't. I mean, it does increase it slightly just because it's more people in a restroom, and that would
No, we're
obviously
talking about
increase it in
rate.
general.
Rate. More people being there that doesn't make any sense also because you're then not. I think under your view, you're saying trans men who are biologically female should go into the women's restroom. They're masculine presenting. Okay? Cis men will be able to portray themselves as trans men to be able to walk into the women's restroom. And what are you going to do? Check their genitalia, their chromosomes, their gametes? What are you going to do?
It would make me uncomfortable.
So what are you going to do? So what are trans men supposed to do? Piss their pants?
No, they're supposed to go into the women's restroom.
Okay, but they're masculine presenting. They're going to get the
Yeah,
shit
that's
beat
fine.
out
I'd
of
rather
them.
have bucking.
They're going to get the
I'd
shit
rather
beat out
have-
of them, or they're going to be like at a higher likelihood of being assaulted, or they're going to be in a circumstance where specifically they again are going to then it's going to allow for cis men who are opportunists to be able to take advantage of the circumstance. Why would you force trans men into
regardless-
that predicament?
Yeah, females
You're just going to
should
make
not
it
be in the
illegal
male's
for them to go
restroom.
to the bathroom in public.
No, it's not. They can go in their designated bathroom. That's fine.
Again, if you're saying they should go into the women's restroom and they're masculine presenting, what's going to happen to them? People are going to be like, "Why are you in this restroom?"
And they'll say
Because they
I'm a
look like
female.
men because they are men.
Sure. No, they're not men.
Yes, they are. They absolutely are.
What's a man?
What's a man? It's an adult human male that's committed towards I apologize. An adult human person that's committed towards the social and cultural norms that are typically associated with the male sex as a prescription of their identity.
That's very sexist.
How?
You're saying that to be a man, it relies on the gender norms.
No, I'm saying that you're committed towards certain sets of norms that are associated with the sex as a prescription of identity, gender identity.
You don't think that norms associated with either the male or female sex are sexist inherently? Like
No.
assigning roles to people based on categories of their genitalia is not sexist.
No, because these aren't prescriptive, these are descriptive. So when you're saying descriptively speaking, that men have certain traits, or that descriptively that women have certain traits, you're not saying anything wrong. If you say men should have this trait, right? Or you're saying women should have this trait because they're women, or men should have this trait because they're men, that's specifically going to be a prescriptive trait, which is bad, right? Because of the fact that you're saying they're not a man or not a woman if they don't meet that particular criteria, right? When they already clearly are, because they have the commitments, because they have that gender identity, and you don't specifically need to have the same norms as everyone else in all circumstances in order to be designated specifically under that gender.
Number one, gender identity doesn't exist. But
It does.
It doesn't.
I'm sorry. You saying it doesn't exist is not a convincing thing at all, right? It clearly does exist for me and for everyone else in the chat. If you don't want to acknowledge that, you can just say that, but everyone else knows that it exists.
I mean, you're a man not because your gender identity is in alignment with something. You're a man because you're a male.
No, I'm a man because of my gender identity, right? Of the fact, or is based upon the fact that my commitments are in alignment with certain sets of social and cultural norms that are typically associated with the male sex, as a prescription of my gender identity. That's why.
What is a male?
A male?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be someone that has XY chromosomes, someone that has small gametes, or someone that has male genitalia.
Are those in conjunction or adjunct? Like, is this necessary or sufficient?
I don't believe in necessary and sufficient conditions for gender or sex. I think that those are typical traits that people will have, given that they meet the criteria of being male.
Okay, well, females can have XY chromosomes.
Yeah.
And they can have male genitalia.
Okay. That's why I said they're
And-
not necessary and sufficient.
Yeah, but condition. Okay, if it's not a necessary condition and it's not a sufficient
Oh.
condition, what kind of condition is it?
It's not necessary nor sufficient. But
Yeah,
it's a
if
condition
it's
that
a
could be
condition, it
applicable.
has. Okay, so let me ask you: do you have to have all three of those traits? Do you have to have
Let me
two of them,
clarify.
or do you just
It
have
can
to
be
have one?
it can be sufficient, but not necessary and sufficient.
Yeah, I know. I'm asking you if it's sufficient or if it's necessary.
Oh, it's sufficient. Like you can.
Oh, that was
it's
all I was
sufficient.
asking.
Yeah, you can have sufficient traits, but you can't
Okay,
have necessary.
how
and
many of
sufficient
these traits are necessary to meet the threshold for sufficiency?
What? That didn't make any sense.
How many traits are going to be sufficient to meet the threshold of male?
How many traits? I don't have a number for you.
Well, you named three characteristics. You said a male is defined by these three things and they're sufficient conditions. I'm asking you how many of these need to be present to meet the threshold of a male.
I'm not. There's no necessary criteria that's going to establish that. It'll be context dependent.
Context dependent. So you don't think that male and female are objective states?
No, I think language is subjective.
You don't think that male and female exist outside of language?
What we're describing does, but the language for it doesn't. I don't know what that means. Language doesn't exist outside of language. So
No,
male
I'm
and
asking
female
you-
are words we use to describe certain things that exist within reality. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes, I agree with you. But I'm asking you, these things that exist in reality, would they exist without the language?
Yeah, people exist.
Okay, do what we're describing as males
Yeah,
and females
gametes,
exist?
genitalia, chromosomes, all of that exists regardless.
Okay, so I'm asking you, these are objective states of being regardless of the term we apply to it?
Yeah, that's an objective state of being, yeah. But it's also objectively true that language exists.
Yeah, that's not an argument I'm
So,
making.
and if we use language to describe gender identity or names, that they objectively exist. I don't know what this argument is. You're not making sense right now.
Okay, I'm asking you if male and female are objective states of biological being.
I do think that we typically use sex in a biological standpoint.
Okay, when you use your definition for man and you use the word male in it, are you using male in a biological context?
In that context, yes.
Okay, so if it's a biological state of being, how does it have these social norms applied to it?
Yeah, so it's the social norms that are associated with these biological traits. So people who biologically have these traits typically express certain types of social behaviors within society. That's all it is.
So you don't think that's sexist? Social norms
No.
being assigned to somebody based
No.
off of their sex?
How is it sexist? This is such a ridiculous argument. How is that sexist? To say descriptively speaking, men have some certain traits and women have some certain traits, whether they're the same
Okay.
or different and depending on the context.
If we're
Like,
looking
how
at
is that
women,
sexist? How is describing reality sexist?
okay, let me. Okay, so I'm assuming that your definition of woman would be just
Wait,
female
answer my
instead of
question.
male.
How is it sexist?
I'm showing you why. I don't know how to answer it without giving you an example. Is it okay
Okay.
if I give you an example?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm assuming. Hey, I have those same glasses. I'm assuming that the glass that you just drank out of, I have the same ones at my house.
Oh, sorry. I was like glasses. I was like so
No,
confused.
like the
No,
drinking glass. I have
know.
the same one.
You meant like I have the same glass.
Yeah, the one
Sorry.
with the little circles. I have that too.
Mhm.
Anyways, so what I was saying, I assume your definition for woman would be somebody who's what committed to the social and cultural norms typically associated with the female sex.
Wait, say that one more time. Sorry.
So a woman would be somebody who's committed to the social and cultural norms typically associated with the female sex, right?
As a prescription of their identity, an adult human person.
An adult human. Yeah, you're right. Well, they should be adult and human. Anyways, so what are social and if we're in the United States of America, what are social and cultural norms associated with being a female?
So you're asking me what are certain feminine traits?
No, like what are the, I mean, if you want to take it that way, you can, but what are the social and cultural norms associated with the female
You're
sex
just
in the
asking me
US?
what are feminine traits.
Sure. Yeah. What are feminine traits?
So, by the way, all you're going to try and do is say, I'm going to describe what some feminine traits are, and then you'll be like, oh, in order to be a woman, do you have to have these traits? And that's not what I'm saying. So,
No, I know
in
because
order
you're
to
saying
prevent
that
that
these,
from happening, because I know exactly how this conversation goes, I'm not even going to do that. And I'm just going to tell you that you know what these feminine traits are, and that's completely irrelevant.
you don't, I mean, you don't think it's
You
sexist to
don't
say
know.
that,
So to clarify, I would have to give you examples for you to understand what a feminine trait is. Like
I mean,
genuinely, like from a conversational standpoint, do I have to, or do you already coming into this have an understanding of that?
if we're talking about the United States of America or most countries that I'm familiar with, I would say that I know what a feminine trait is. But we could also agree
Sure,
that feminine and masculine traits will differ based on the culture that you're in, right?
totally agree.
Okay, so
I don't see how that disagrees. I don't see how that disagrees with anything I've said so far. So the point that I'm making is that we know what those are. All I'm saying is that you're in accordance with those certain traits as a prescription of your gender identity. Not just that you express those characteristics, but that you specifically are committed to the expression of those characteristics, or at least on whether it be on an internal standpoint or externally, right? As a prescription of your gender identity, your internal commitments, your internal desires. Does
okay.
that make sense?
I'm sure, yes, it makes sense. I'm sure you have an answer for this, but take a femboy, for example. I would say that a femboy would be internally devoted to feminine features.
But not as a
So,
prescription of their gender identity.
okay, so what can I ask you what you take gender identity to be?
A description of your commitments towards certain sets of cultural norms associated with a certain sexes.
Okay, one more time.
Yeah, a commitment to be in accordance with certain sets of social and cultural norms associated with certain sexes.
Okay, how do you make a commitment to be in accordance?
You have a desire to be in accordance with those certain traits.
You don't think that femboys have a desire to be in accordance with feminine traits?
Not as a prescription of their gender.
And what designates the difference?
Whether or not it's a prescription of their gender.
Yeah, I know. I'm asking
Like,
you
for
what
example, do I have feminine traits?
do you really want me to answer that?
Yes.
I feel like your nose is kind of feminine.
So, okay. So, I mean, by the way, having feminine traits isn't a bad thing. I don't take that as a bad thing at all. Okay? I do
I
have
don't know.
feminine
I don't
traits.
know how
That's a
strong you are in
fact.
your masculinity. I'm just
Parker,
saying.
listen. I do have feminine traits. That's a fact. Okay? Now, me having feminine traits does not mean that I'm a woman. I'm not making that argument because I don't express those feminine traits to then be in accordance with being a woman. Right?
Okay, so it's just subjective. That's
Yeah,
all
I
it
don't have a
is?
desire to be in accordance with those traits because I want to be designated as a woman from an internal standpoint in terms of
Okay.
self-perception.
So does it hold on one second. Lucy, stop. Stop. Okay. Um Designating those traits to be in accordance to be a woman?
Yeah, so you're not understanding is I'm saying that it's specifically in the context of I want to engage with these traits because I have a desire to be in accordance with them because they are going to then affirm the prescription, right, of the self-prescription of your gender identity, right? The self-perception of that.
Okay, so self-perception is what's going to define somebody's sex or somebody's gender, sorry, because I'm sure you think gender and sex are two
Self-perception
different
is
things.
relevant to one's sex. A true self-perception.
Self-perception is relevant to
Or not
sex.
not to sex, gender, sorry.
I mean, I would take them to be basically the same thing, contextually synonymous. But
I don't. I don't think that they're the same thing at all. I think there are vast differences. Do you want me to explain why?
I mean, you can. I'm sure I'll
Do you
disagree
think
in the
dogs
end.
have gender?
Yeah.
You think there are men and women dogs?
I wouldn't say that we would use the
No.
same.
Dogs are male and female. Dogs are
Yeah,
not
you're
men and
right,
women.
but no, I'm. You don't think animals can have a gender?
Well, we are biologically animals, all humans.
Okay,
Okay.
you don't think that animals outside of the human species can have a gender?
Or maybe there's other. I don't know. I'd have to. That's a
No,
empirical
I'm like, okay.
question.
For what I'm trying to get is
That's an
like, what is
empirical
a
question.
mare?
So, the point that I'm making is that they don't have gender, right?
I would
Does
disagree.
that make sense? The notion of gender is relating to gender identity, the commitments that people have. It's not just based upon the biological sex.
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay, how
don't
about this? How
think
about this?
that.
Do you think that all animals have gender?
Um, I'm not familiar with all the terms, but I would say that the majority of them do have gender. Yeah.
Okay, I wouldn't say that. I don't think that they do. I think that you're referencing biological sex, and I think that you're trying to use them the same. Let me give you another reason to say that it's not the same. Are sex and gender 100% identical?
No, they're contextually synonymous.
Okay, so they're not 100% identical. But you're
No,
saying
because
that
if I were to
typically,
say
are
that,
you going to say typically they're going to mean the same thing? Is that what you mean?
yeah, typically they are going to mean the same thing.
Okay, so by the way, like even if you do say that, that doesn't mean that you have to believe that it's biological, nor does that mean that you have to believe that that it always has to be the same, or that the social
That's
context of using the term is incorrect.
Yeah, but it was developed to mean the same thing. Woman is developed to mean the same thing as a female.
I don't think so because of the fact that there's going to be a distinction. Not all people who are biologically female are women, right? At a certain
No,
age,
you're
you're
right.
not a woman, right? When you're younger, like when I was younger, I wasn't a man yet.
Yeah, I know,
Now
because
I'm a
you're an
man.
adolescent. You were a
That
boy.
tells me that there's a huge distinction, okay? Because if it was just based upon biological sex, well then there wouldn't be a distinction based upon an age or social designation.
I know. Gender has three purposes. It describes your species, it describes your stage of development, and it describes your sex.
You're saying species, stage of development, and sex. Okay, I don't think it necessarily has to be in reference to the sex. I don't think it's just in reference to those three things. I think that gender is in reference to a lot more than that. And I think that this is a pretty simplistic way of viewing gender. Now, I'm not saying that you have to view gender in the way that I'm viewing it in all contexts. I'm just saying that it genuinely doesn't make sense for you to say that it's incorrect to use the genuine the social usage of the term just because you're using a biological usage in typical.
I don't I
It
think
just
that the
doesn't
social
follow.
usage I think the social usage of the term isn't the correct use of the term. The word
Okay,
woman
how is it
comes from female.
incorrect?
Yeah, because the word woman comes from female.
So it's typically used this way, or historically has been used this way, is not evidence that this particular way of using the term is incorrect. For example, based, right? What was based typically used in the way that it's used now?
I would say that that's two different words. I would say it like if I were to tell you that you're not
Wait, wait,
based.
wait, wait. I say based. If I use it in that certain way, would that mean just because it wasn't used that way historically speaking that I'm using it incorrectly?
No, I would say you're using a
Or
different word.
or could it only be incorrect if I'm using it wrong in reference to the own definition that I am prescribing myself?
No, I'm saying that you're using two different words. Based as in like this building is based upon a foundation, and you saying
I
based as in
understand.
I'm so cool is two different words.
Yeah, I understand. But you're not understanding that, it seems. Is that there's
Okay, so
two
are
different
you
words of
saying
gender that you can use. You can use it in a biological sense and you can use it in a social sense. And just because you typically use it in a biological sense does not mean the social sense is incorrect. Does that make sense?
okay, so if I were to accept this, do you think that bathrooms should not be based in a biological sense? Do you not think
No,
that sports?
I think it should be predicated off of gender identity for bathrooms. I think that makes the most sense. I think that keeps people the safest. I think that keeps trans people the safest. I think that keeps cis individuals the safest. And that makes for a better society if we do it based on gender identity.
I mean, I
For
disagree. I
sports,
think
after
that it
multiple years of HRT, there's no particular biological advantages that would make it unfair insofar as that people couldn't play. Plus, this is a completely manufactured propagandistic talking point, as there's practically no trans people you'd be able to point to that are playing in sports and dominating. Practically none. So it's like literally such a manufactured talking point so that the people who are rich and wealthy can use talking points like this to distract you away from the fact that they're getting massive tax breaks while increasing your taxes by imposing tariffs.
holy red herring. That's okay.
That's not a red herring. That's quite literally me
It,
giving the explanation for why I think that this conversation is typically brought up. Because of the fact
so
that billionaires will put funding into this so that people will talk about this because it distracts from progressive economic change.
so because I don't want to expose myself in the same room as a man with a penis, means that
No, I'm
I'm
not saying you
falling into
making this argument.
propaganda.
I'm saying that the argument existing in general discourse, which could influence whether or not you specifically have brought it up on the live, sorry, but in general, right, the fact that it's prevalent within public discourse is a byproduct of the fact that billionaires have funded these particular messaging campaigns, right, so that people are believing them, right, to then use that as a distraction mechanism to prevent progressive economic reform.
Yeah, you're right. I don't particularly like billionaires in general. I
Well, I
don't
mean, you give
particularly,
tax breaks to them through your economic policy.
like I said, I supported a lot of things about Kamala Harris's economic policies. So yeah, so I don't think that really tracks. But once again, this still doesn't take away from the fact that you think it's okay for men with penises to go into the same room and expose themselves as 5-year-old girls are also exposing themselves.
I think that's a ridiculous way to say that. I think that trans women are women. Trans women are not men. Trans women are definitely women. And people are not exposing themselves to each other in the bathroom. They're fucking pissing, right? Or shitting. There's stalls. Okay? In the context of the women's restroom, there are stalls. Do you agree?
Yeah, but not in the men's restroom.
Okay. So then you're saying trans men are exposing themselves?
Yeah, I would say that trans men are exposing themselves and
Are you really trying to like I don't see that as an issue. I don't have an issue with trans men going into the men's restroom and pissing. What's wrong with that? And by the way, there are stalls in the men's restroom as well. It's not just urinals.
no, I know. Are you saying that trans men should have well,
Is your
okay.
big issue with
Stop,
trans
stop,
men going
stop.
into the
Sorry.
men's restroom? Like seriously? That's your big issue?
No. Also, I realized that I was kind of saying that trans men should use urinals, and I don't think that really works.
Depending on the individual, it definitely can, but like I mean, trans men can absolutely go into the stalls. There's stalls in the men's room as well. Like I don't understand this
Okay,
big issue that you're trying to formulate.
I do
I
have a
don't think it
question.
exists.
So,
Trans people are
if
just trying to go to the bathroom, and what you're doing is essentially going to cause it to be hard for them to literally just be in public and go to the bathroom. And you're also creating unnecessary anxiety for trans people based upon them just going to the bathroom and being in public in general. Why would you want that? Like, that's
you
horrible.
don't think there's any kind of increased risk with a male going into the women's restroom?
I don't think there's an increased risk with trans women Can you give me any evidence? Can you give me a single study that says that trans women, right, going into the women's restroom puts cis women at a greater risk? Give me any evidence of that.
I would literally, I mean, I can find you a source if you really want one. But
Go
I could
ahead.
also just, I
Go
could
ahead.
also just say
I'm
that
waiting.
in
Go ahead.
general,
I'd love to see.
if you have, that's fine. If you have more people going into a restroom, would that not increase the risk of something happening
We're
in said
saying the
restroom?
rate of it. Risk is relative to the rate, not to the amount of people that are there. That's like saying you'd prefer to go to a country that is smaller compared to a country that's bigger, simply just because there are more people in a country that's bigger that could harm you. That's not referencing the crime rate. For example, the crime rate could be 0 in a certain country, and they have the largest population in the world, right? And you would prefer to go to a country with a 100% rate of violence because of the fact that there is a larger population in one country, even though they have near a 0% crime rate. That would make no sense. Okay? So obviously we're going to judge based upon the rate.
Are you saying you want it like per capita?
Yeah, like that's what we take into account population.
Okay.
Sammy, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I know, right? It's pretty ridiculous. As well as Ali, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the $15. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Get some W's for them in the comment section right now. Thank you. As well as Mary, thank you so much for the $1.44. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I don't think it is. I think actually there's evidence to say actually it's less I've seen. As well as Claudia, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. As a cis female, when a girl's bathroom is closed down, there's no other restroom available. I've gone to use the men's bathroom before. Is that wrong? They'd probably say yes. The Duke, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $10. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Exactly. Seriously, it's actually ridiculous. As well as Lovey, thank you so much for the $2. I really appreciate it. Thank you. That's really good. I like that one. I like that one. But the issue is typically like, you know, it can like drip out of the CART. So that's the one issue I've seen. But Christy, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $1. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Seriously though, literally have a rapist in the White House, and this is their concern. I mean, that's literally what I brought up earlier. Lorraine, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $20 on PayPal. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Get some W's for them in the comment section right now. Thank you. Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you. Sydney, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm so glad that I'm able to. Thank you so much. And Kieran, thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Said I'm androgynous but masculine presenting. Which bathroom should I use? Or do you want to look down my pants? I'm designated female at birth, but women are visibly uncomfortable with me in the bathroom.
I don't know, man. I'd rather have Buck Angel in my bathroom than Caitlyn Jenner.
How do you feel that Donald Trump allowed Caitlyn Jenner to use the women's restroom at Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Is that a reason to stop
so
supporting Trump?
very funny.
I'm just like,
So I'm assuming
that's policy, right?
that's not a policy. That's just
That
something
was
that
the
he
policy
decided.
in Mar-a-Lago when Trump had 100% dictatorial control.
I mean, that's fine. I don't take that to outweigh the legislative that he's passed on it.
Interesting. So what legislation did he pass specifically on bathrooms?
Oh, I have this written down. Now I'm excited. Yeah, it's gonna be. Let's see.
Well, Drew, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $25. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. He said, I'm a trans man, and I promised you when we go into the bathroom, all we want to do is pee, wash our hands, and leave. All this other shit is propaganda. Totally agree. W's for Drew in the comment section right now. Thank you so much.
Okay. Executive
I love you.
order
I know, right?
14
It's been ridiculous. Matt, thank you so much for the $10, by the way. Thank you so much. Go ahead. You were saying?
Yeah, Executive Order 14168.
Okay, and what does it do?
It's called Defending Women from Gender Ideology, Extremism, and Restoring Biological Truth to the Federal Government. And it requires federal agencies to ensure that intimate spaces like bathrooms, shelters, and prisons are
Wait, so
separated
only
by
federal
biological
agencies, so
cells.
not public spaces?
No, I know, but this is just, again, this is something that he's done in general to help with male and female specific spaces.
But it's
I didn't
only
say
in the
that it was.
context for federal employees. Well, I can reference
Yeah, I know.
countless things. Like, what about for the military specifically, where they're saying they're getting rid of the walking on eggshells policy, right? Where they're specifically making it easier for people who have assaulted individuals in the context of military to get away with it.
Would you say for the last sentence?
Yeah, so like, the walking on eggshells policy that Pete Hegseth brought up,
Yeah.
doesn't that like literally make it harder for people who have been assaulted in the context of the military to hold their abusers accountable in the military?
I don't know a lot about the walking on eggshells policy. I do know that Trump is trying to remove transgender individuals from the military.
Yeah, that's horrible too.
Well,
And he has.
do you not think that the military should be separated by sex instead of gender?
I don't think that trans people should be kicked out of the military. And also,
Do you-
what do you mean by separated? I'm confused.
Yeah, like, for example, they have different fitness regulations for males versus females.
If you have fitness regulations, you would determine that based on probably like hormone levels.
No, they base it on sex typically. They don't really do hormone testing.
Just because they typically do that right now doesn't mean that's how they should do them. And also, why are we
Well,
pivoting
that-
talking about that instead of talking about specifically what I brought up? Because like quite literally, that like literally limits people from being able to hold their abusers accountable in the context of the military. So if you actually cared about SA victims, you wouldn't vote for a rapist and for someone who literally put into place policy specifically within the context of the military to make it harder for victims to hold their abusers accountable.
I love how I brought up the federal agency intimate spaces and you pivoted to something else.
I brought up something in the context of federal spaces that restricts people who have been abused from holding their abusers accountable. So what you're doing
Yeah, I
is
disagree with
virtue
that aspect
signaling.
of it, but I
Can you give me any evidence that there were trans people in the context of federal buildings assaulting cis women?
no, I literally just said that I don't have a source for that. I'm
So
talking
then,
right
like,
now
what are
about
you
the
even
executive
addressing with policy then? Like this doesn't seem
because
like
you
it's even
asked me
doing
what
anything.
policies Trump had made to
But it didn't
differentiate male and female
Yeah.
spaces, and
No,
I
no,
did. I
not
gave
just
you
to
one.
differentiate, but to better the conditions of people.
Yeah, restoring biological truth seems pretty important to me. I don't like to
That's
lie.
not restoring it was nothing about nothing about my ideological beliefs about trans people are wrong. Nothing about what I'm
Yeah, you
saying is
believe-
denying biological truth. And by the way, Trump says that while simultaneously saying that climate change is a hoax, the climate is going to start cooling and science just doesn't know it yet. And fucking literally defunding the EPA by 40%. Okay, what are you talking about? What do you mean acknowledging biological facts and science? Like, what are you talking about? His administration has actively undermined science.
No, I mean it
No.
can underestimate science on some aspects, but
Not
once
just
again, you said
underestimate,
that.
but denies science.
Yeah, sure, I believe in global warming.
So you think that Trump is lying when he says the climate is going to start cooling? Science just doesn't know it yet, and climate change is a hoax. So
No,
why don't you want
I
to
think that he
acknowledge
probably just doesn't
scientific
know.
truth then?
Yeah, I don't think he doesn't know, but also that's not in reference to female and male specific spaces, so I don't see how that's relevant.
What was the conversation
You-
we were having? Are you serious? Are you going to play that card?
You literally just asked me, is there a source that Donald Trump has done anything for male and female specific spaces like bathrooms? And I gave you one, and you didn't really
because
say
you brought up
anything.
trans people because your whole issue was literally trans people. That was your whole issue. That's why you're willing to support Trump. So we were talking about that, and you're saying I was pivoting from some other point of the conversation that was like fucking 30 minutes ago.
That's not the only reason I support Trump, but I said that was the main reason.
Yeah, so I'm responding to that main reason. And you brought
Okay.
up the fact that they were saying they acknowledge biological truths while simultaneously denying science. We're not the ones that deny science. That's MAGA.
You do deny science when you think that gender
When?
is some kind of social construct.
That's not denying science. What?
No, gender is biologically based.
What-
It's not a social construct.
When I say that gender is socially constructed, what biological fact am I denying?
Yeah, that you can be a certain gender without being the sex and pertainment to that gender.
That's not a scientific fact.
It is a scientific fact.
So
Gender is biologically rooted.
Science doesn't define gender. That's language.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. It's language.
What's the argument?
It's how, okay, so language is subjective. It's dependent upon how you're using the term. What science is going to define is what exists within nature, what's descriptively true about reality, right? Things like that. And
Okay,
it's
so
gonna,
do you think that
testing and
when
reproducing
I
results, things like
say
that.
do you think that when I say woman and you say woman, we're using two different words?
Yes. But there's nothing
Okay.
biologically incorrect about my definition.
But your definition is socially constructed.
Yeah. Every definition is socially constructed.
Why are we using the same word?
Why? Because there's, like, for example, the same thing with the word based. There's multiple different ways you can use the word.
Yeah, but the word based, when it means like built upon something, say like that, and the word based is in your cool,
Yeah, those
you
are
know,
two different uses of the term. The same way that you
yeah,
can have
and you
two
know
different
that
uses of
the
the term
second,
woman or two different uses of the term man, right? And you
yes,
shouldn't equivocate between them. And by the way, you're equivocating between them when you say that because I'm specifically saying that gender is socially constructed, that means that I'm somehow denying a biological fact. That's called an equivocation fallacy because you're superimposing that I'm using the biological sense of the term and the social sense of the term at the same
because
time,
there
which is
is
not what I'm
only a
doing.
biological sense of the term.
What?
A man, there's
You,
only a biological sense of the
wrong.
term.
Wrong. This entire conversation, I've been explaining to you, there's a social usage of the term. You can't deny that. That's a fact of reality. You're denying reality right now.
I'm denying
Yes,
reality.
you
A
are.
man will always
Absolutely.
be, a woman will always be an adult human female. There's no getting
That's the
around
way that
that.
you're using the term. I can use the term in a different way. In the same way that based, the term based, can be used in different ways. Could someone who's older be like, oh, you can't use the term based specifically to mean that because my whole life I have used the term based in a different way. And the way that I'm using it is the way that you should use it. And if you use it in a different way, well, you're fucking wrong. Could someone else say that? No, that wouldn't make any sense because it's a slang term. There's different usages of the term. They're equivocating in that sense because they think that the way that they used it historically is going to be the way that everyone else is using it. That's not how language works.
Okay, let me put it this way. If I want to say that because I'm 19, right? I said that at the beginning. If I want to say I'm 21, can I be treated as if I'm 21?
No, because the way that we're using the term in terms of age, especially under a legal concept, has a legal definition that we base it upon. Plus,
No,
our
no, but
typical
I'm using a
definitions that
different
we
word.
use it upon, we're going to judge it based upon the way that we use the term. So, no, I'm not going to judge your age based upon some other definition you're going to generate and come up with. I'm going to judge it based upon the typical social construct that we have associated with it and the way that I'm using the term, because
Okay,
that's the way that's relevant to me.
I'm gonna associate you with the typical construct that we use to define gender, which is sex.
Yeah, and you can do that. But that does not mean my way of using it is incorrect. Does
Okay,
that make
so
sense?
do you think that I would be obligated to validate somebody's gender identity?
Would you be obligated to validate someone's gender identity? There's no,
Like, for example,
from a
if
moral
there's a
standpoint.
no. Like, okay, so if there's a
What
trans
type,
woman,
you mean? Do you mean legal obligation?
um, not normative, but like if there's a trans woman, would it be, yeah, I guess morally, do you think it would be wrong for me to call them he, him?
So, would it be wrong to call who he him?
A trans woman. Would it be wrong for me to call them
Yes.
he, him?
She.
Why?
Why would it be wrong? Because of the fact that it's rude, disrespectful, in the same way
But
that it
if
would be
I-
disrespectful for you to use my name incorrectly.
It's disrespectful for you to
Yeah,
call.
if you were going to call me Connor when I told you my name was Parker and I don't like being called Connor, right? That's going to be something that I deem as disrespectful, right? So
So do
I
you
would say
think
it's
it's-
wrong to do that because it's disrespectful.
Do you think it's disrespectful to call Creed Phil?
That was in response to him specifically saying that he wouldn't accept trans people's identities. So it's meant to show the hypocrisy.
I don't know the context of it, but you still don't think that that's like disrespectful regardless?
No, I'm purposefully being disrespectful to Phil in that context. Why? Because the fact that he was disrespectful to trans people, and I'm showing him that he thinks it's wrong because he clearly doesn't see how it's wrong unless it impacts him personally. That's why.
Okay. So where is my, like, what moral law am I violating if I call a trans woman he, him?
I'm saying you're being disrespectful.
Is it okay? So if I want to be 21, is it not disrespectful for you to call me 19?
No, I don't think it's
Or
disrespectful.
if I want to be black, is it not disrespectful for you to treat me as if I'm white?
No, because that's not how we are using the term race. And you're explicitly trying to just say that in order to be able to try to make up whatever you're trying to say there. Right? I don't know
Is
what your
race not
point
a
is
social
there,
construct?
but that doesn't mean all social constructs operate the same. For example, do you think race is socially constructed?
Yes.
Do you think names are socially constructed?
Yes.
Okay, do you think that because you can choose your name, you can choose your race?
You don't choose your name, your parents choose your name.
Wait, but can you choose your own name? Because JD Vance, that's not his name assigned at birth. Okay?
Yeah, you can
So
choose your own
can't
name.
so you can choose your name and it would be valid. So because you can choose your own name and it can be valid, can you then choose your own race under your view?
Okay, so my claim
Answer
is
the
not
question.
that
Answer the
all
question. Can you
social.
change your race
No,
then?
no. Okay,
No.
let
So
me
not
say
all
no
social constructs
because
work the same. Why do
you're
people think
right.
this is
Yeah.
only applicable to gender, but it's not applicable to names? Seriously, let's do some fucking bare line critical thinking here. Seriously. Why
Okay,
do
so
people
I was
always bring up this
literally
argument? It's the most ridiculous argument ever.
I was literally gonna say that I'm not making the claim that all social constructs operate on the same
That's
level.
exactly
I'm
what you're
ask
doing.
I'm asking you, why does gender not operate on the same level as age or sex or age or race or name? What's the difference?
Yeah, because age is going to be based upon time elapsed, okay? Race is going to be based upon phenotypical expression, and gender is based upon social commitments.
Why is gender not based on sex? If those other two are based in biology.
No,
Oh wait, I do
not
have a
necessarily
question
based
about
in
race
biology,
actually.
but now
If
and
if somebody were to lighten their
so
skin
again,
or to
you just
tan.
keep asking me because other social constructs operate a certain way. Why doesn't
No,
this
I know
social
you're saying,
construct
okay, so
operate the
you're
same
saying,
way? So why
oh,
can you choose your name but you can't choose your race? Can you answer that question?
yeah, because race is going to be rooted ancestrally. Is that a word? You know what I
Um,
mean, but is that a word?
Race is based upon phenotypical expression. So, and you
Okay,
said it's
so
so you're just saying a descriptive fact about how it is, right? You said it's ancestrally.
is that a word? Ancestral. You know what I mean, but like, is that a word? Genuinely.
I've never heard it used before.
Okay, but you know what I mean, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay, so if I were to go out in the sun and I were to tan so much that I looked black, does that mean that I'm African American?
One that can't happen. Two, that's not your phenotypical expression then. And what the hell? That
Do you know what a
you can't.
phenotype is?
When you go out to tan, you're not gonna turn black. That's not how it works. What the
I'm
fuck are
I,
you
okay.
talking about?
It's not
Why
a
would
lot.
you
You don't
ever
think
say
there's a
such a ridiculous
possibility.
thing?
You don't think it's a possibility.
No.
Okay, is it illogical?
Yes.
Okay, which law of logic does it violate?
Yeah, you are not black.
That's not a law of
And
logic.
so let me clarify. The law of non-contradiction. You cannot tan to become a different race. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. If you cannot tan to become a different race, then that necessarily entails you cannot tan
No,
to
but
become a
that's
different
not what the
race.
law of non-contradiction is. Do you not know what the law of non-contradiction is?
Yes, it is. It means that wait, so let me clarify. You understand that those would be two things that would contradict. It's the same thing and the opposing thing simultaneously. Those cannot be true simultaneously.
It has to be two separate statements. So it would be like me
Those are two
saying,
separate statements. I just clarified.
yeah, it would be like me saying a man is not a woman, and then it would be like me saying a man is a woman, because those contradict each other. It's two separate statements that contradict each other. And also, no, never mind.
And I
That's
just
not. Never
explained
mind.
what the two different statements were and I showed you,
Okay,
but
so what are the two different statements again? Go ahead.
I just explained it. Do you want me to play the audio back cuz you just heard
Yeah,
me say it?
sure. Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, we're doing this again. Love this. Alrighty.
I appreciate your
Tan
patience.
to
I
become a
actually
different
do.
race. Do you agree? Understand that those would be two things that would contradict. It's the same thing and the opposing thing simultaneously. Those
Okay, is it illogical?
yes.
Okay, which law of logic does it violate?
Yeah, you are not black.
That's not a law
And
of logic.
so let me clarify. The law of non-contradiction. You cannot tan to become a different race. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. If you cannot tan to become a different race, then that necessarily entails you cannot tan to
No, but
become a
that's
different
not
race.
what the law of non.
Because you made a claim that you can tan to become a different race. That's what the hypothetical you brought up. So
Yeah.
if you just conceded right now, you cannot tan to become a different race. Those are two different claims
I'm
that
not
contradict each
saying-
other.
I obviously don't think you can tan to become a different race. I'm just saying that it doesn't violate a law of logic to do so.
It does, because you already have you're committed to believing that you cannot tan to become a different race.
Okay, so let me rescind that statement. I think you can tan to become a different race. Why does that
Don't do
violate a law of
this.
logic?
Don't do this.
I'm just.
I was saying
I'm
it
just-
violates
okay.
your own commitments that you believe.
Yeah,
You're
it
being
violates
ridiculous.
my own commitments, but within it of itself, the statement is not illogical.
I think
somebody-
it makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. Things don't have to make sense in order for them to be logical. If you're looking at the laws of logic, it doesn't have to make sense in order for it to not violate a law of logic.
It does, because this, like, for example, would it make sense for me to say that I can fly up in the or pigs can fly? Like, biologically.
Can you what?
Would it make sense for me to say pigs can fly biologically?
No, that can't happen, but it doesn't violate a law of logic.
It does, because because
Which
one of the
law of
essential
logic?
because an essential attribute of a pig is that they do not have biological components to be able to fly.
Cool, but it's not. Do you even know the laws of logic?
Yeah, the law of identity, the law of non-contradiction, the law of excluded middle.
You're definitely reading that, but that's okay.
I didn't. I've been talking about this for years. The fact that you genuinely can't believe that I know that is absurd.
I'm sorry. I can't honestly.
I've been
can't.
doing TikTok
Especially-
lives for 5 to 6 years now. I've done
Okay.
philosophy for a long time.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 23 years old. I'm turning 24 next month.
You've been doing it for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
5 to. Okay. Technically, it checks out depending on when you started month-wise, but anyways, yeah. So I would still say that like it doesn't violate a law of logic.
Okay, I'm gonna cry now.
Okay,
I've
well,
already explained what I meant.
I know what you mean.
You need to look up.
We could say it's
language
irrational.
is subjective. You need to look into
Yeah,
that.
language. I do think language is subjective. I do.
Okay.
Because
So
definitions.
there's nothing incorrect
definitions
about
are
me.
stipulative.
So there's nothing incorrect about me using the gender in the way that I use gender.
As long as you're okay with me saying that a table is something that I can eat. If I want to define a table as an edible food, and I'm actually referencing what we consider to be broccoli.
If you made it if you were like, for example, right? If you made a like a model and you made the table out of broccoli, couldn't you say that the
No.
broccoli would be a table in that context?
No, I'm referring to like a wooden table, like a wooden table like that.
So you're saying the wood is broccoli, but broccoli just means wood.
Yeah, can I say that?
Okay. Yeah, but it's not going to make sense to people. That's like saying you swapped out the term wubba lubba for chew. So when I say
You're right. It doesn't make
I wubba
sense.
lubba I don't know, a gummy bear, right? That technically makes sense given that I've already defined the term, but it's not going to make sense in conventional or typical conversation. Why? Because we don't typically use the terms in that way.
You're right, and neither do trans women because we don't typically
We do.
use the words that
Wait.
way.
So just because we haven't typically used it doesn't mean we can't use it in that way, and doesn't mean it's not useful. So by the way, this provides a utility and a usefulness because it references people's self-perceptions, gender identity, and things that are also applicable to individuals who are not trans.
I already
have a
told you that
gender
gender
identity.
identity doesn't
I have
exist.
gender identity. I have gender identity. I think that's socially constructed. I'm not trans.
Cool, you can think that. Gender identity still doesn't exist.
It does. That's just your understanding of it. You can't say that I'm incorrect for using it this way.
Okay, what did you say it was?
How am I incorrect for using it in the way that I'm using it?
What did you define gender identity as again?
You mean like a man or a woman?
No, what is gender identity? Define gender identity.
I already told you. Again, it's based upon the commitments people have to be in accordance with sets of social and cultural norms that are typically associated with the sexes.
Okay, so I don't think that exists. Do you have a source for that?
What?
Do you have a source to substantiate that gender identity is real and that's what it means?
So you don't need sources for definitions. This is quite literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard from any guest
If you
that's ever
don't
come
need
up
a
in my
source
life.
for a definition, then you're just
you just
appealing
asked
to
me for a
definition fallacy.
source for how I define a term. You already agreed language is subjective, okay? You don't need a source for a definition of a term. By the way, dictionaries, for example, they categorize the ways that we typically use language. Before dictionaries existed, words still existed, okay? I don't know what you mean by what do you mean by source? What?
No, okay, so if I'm asking you for your
Myself,
definition,
I'm unironically the source of the definition.
that's
You know that, right?
anecdotal.
That's what?
That's anecdotal.
This isn't a descriptive claim about reality. This is a description of how I'm using the term.
Cool. I don't have to take.
What?
I don't have to take.
What are you
subjective-
talking about? I'm not explaining something about an event that happened. I'm talking about how I myself am using the term.
Okay, I don't have to use your subjective experience to define objective states of being.
I know. I never said you have to use my definition.
Okay, so I don't have to use your definition, and I can call a trans woman he, him if I want. And that's fine.
So you can. You're physically able to do that, but I think that's disrespectful. This is what this conversation started with. Oh my God.
Is it immoral for me to not use your definition?
It's not immoral for you to not use my definition.
Okay, then if I'm not using your definition, I'm under no obligation to validate gender identity either. So therefore, it's not immoral for me to refer to somebody as he, him if I want.
So wait,
for example,
you're sneaking in the refer to someone. So using a definition and referring to someone are two different actions. Let me clarify, right? You are in the context of you referring to someone that you could be using a definition, but not all situations where you use the definition are you referring to someone specifically. Does that make sense?
say the last part again. Sorry, bro. You gotta play it back, don't you?
I don't want to have to do this again. Oh my God, bro. I just like why are we even talking about this in the first place, dude?
Well, I don't
Like
want to
I've
make
already
you crash
explained this.
out.
I have to explain things to you over and over and over again. It's unbelievable.
Well, I have an auditory processing disorder. Are you being disabled? Are you being ableist?
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious. I have an auditory processing disorder.
Okay, so given that I know that, I will play it back. I didn't know that prior. How can you say someone's being ableist when they didn't know that? What the fuck?
I know I was joking, but I do have an
Okay,
auditory
how
processing
am I
disorder.
supposed to know that you're joking? How is anyone in the chat supposed to know that you were joking?
You know, you're honest because
Become a
that's
different
fair.
race. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. If you cannot tend to become a different race, oh my
then
God,
that-
we're back to this. Hold up.
Posing things.
A different race. Oh my
Then
God,
that-
we're back.
Thing.
Is anyone in the chat supposed to know that you were joking?
You know.
Place, dude.
Well, I don't
Like
want to
I've
make
already
you crash
explained this.
out.
I have to explain things.
Part again. Sorry, bro. You gotta play it back, don't you?
Actions. Let me clarify, right? You are in the context of you referring to someone that you could be using a definition, but not all situations where you use the definition are you referring to someone specifically. Does that make sense?
Okay, so yeah, I would agree with that. Like
Okay.
that makes sense to me.
Okay. So what's the point?
But, no, what was your point in saying that though? How does that negate what I was saying?
What was your original argument?
That if I'm under no moral obligation to use your definition, then I don't have to use the things that come with it.
So the point that I was making is that it's disrespectful, right? So when you say are you under a moral obligation to be respectful?
I mean, morals are technically subjective, so I could say no, but
No, under
personally, I
your
would say
own. I'm
yes.
not asking. I'm asking under your own position.
Um, you have, in certain contexts, I don't always have to be respectful to people.
But in general, would you
In
say that you have
general,
an
yeah.
obligation to be respectful?
In general, I have an obligation to be respectful, yes.
Okay. So then that's what I'd say. In general, you have an obligation to be respectful. Could you apply that to this circumstance?
Yeah, if I feel like somebody's infringing on my rights, I don't feel like I have an obligation to be respectful to them.
How is a trans person existing in the chat right now going to be infringing upon your rights?
Because they feel like they have the right to use female specific spaces.
So if a trans man specifically is in the chat right now and you purposefully use their pronouns and gender identity incorrectly, what about them justified you being disrespectful to them?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, what about a trans man existing justified you being disrespectful to them?
Can you say trans woman instead so I can answer?
Why can't I say trans man?
It, like, never mind.
So can you answer?
Nothing.
No, you won't answer?
No, like, nothing would constitute me being disrespectful, I guess. In the context of
Okay.
just somebody existing in the
So
chat.
so if nothing would constitute you being disrespectful, would you use their pronouns correctly?
No, I probably would use a trans person's pronouns. I'm just saying I don't feel like I have an obligation to.
You just said you do, because you have an obligation to, in general, be respectful to people.
Yeah, in general, be respectful to people.
Yeah, which would include trans people, because trans people are people.
I didn't say they weren't people.
Well, according to your argument, you would essentially deeming them to not be, as you were saying, simply just for existing, they were. It was justified to be disrespectful to them.
Um, okay, so yeah, I do have an obligation to use pronouns to the extent.
Okay, so then you would agree now that you would want to be respectful to trans people. So again, I guess what is your big issue then? Why are you like? Do you actually support Trump, or do you just want to talk to me about these topics?
What?
Do you actually support Trump, or did you just want to talk to me about these topics?
I really just wanted to talk about trans issues mostly.
But you don't support Trump.
I mean, I would have voted for him,
You still would over Harris?
probably.
Okay, so why?
I just want the trans issues, abortion, things like that.
Okay, so what about trans people? What about abortion? That would get you to specifically want to vote for a rapist.
I mean, like I said, I don't think he's a rapist, but
He is.
I like you can think that. That's fine. Um, like I mean, I've already told you what about trans people, so
Not really. You didn't really like give a policy. You kind of just like said in general, like Trump
I gave you executive.
acknowledges facts and put in federal buildings that trans people can't use the bathrooms that align with their
He
gender. Just like said, and put in federal
also
identity. Wait, say that one more time.
Executive Order 14201.
Yeah, that's the one you already mentioned earlier. We already talked
No,
about
no,
that.
no. I mentioned 14168. This is
Okay, so what is this? What is this one then?
This one is for sports. It keeps trans women out of women's sports and trans men out of men's sports.
Can you name 2 trans women that were competing in women's sports that were dominating? That this
I can name
prevented
one.
from competing? Can you name
I
2?
can name one. No, I can name one, but that doesn't mean that there's
So
not more than one.
if you can't name 2 people, then why would you say this would be relevant to like literally do as policy enough to say that you would vote for Donald Trump, who's done all of this shit to our country, right? Who literally has us right now in war, simply because of this. Like, seriously, you prioritize this
I mean, I
over the
have
fact that he's put us to
anecdotals.
war.
I have anecdotals for trans men or for trans women in women's sports, but you wouldn't take that. So,
That you knew a trans woman specifically that played?
no, I had a friend who played volleyball and she went to a match. This was when I was in high school, and there was a trans woman on the team. It was, an all girls team, and she was hit in the face from a spike and she was knocked out and she had a concussion and she now has unalterable brain damage and she has a nerve issue with the left side of her face.
And what does that have to do with the person being trans?
Yeah, because it was male strength that enabled that to happen.
Was that, like, determined by a doctor?
Yes. That woman or that man is no longer allowed to play on the women's team.
Can you give me
because of that.
can you give me a source?
I don't want to dox myself.
Personally, could you send it to me?
I can DM it to you.
Yeah.
Can I DM it to you while I'm live?
I mean, I don't know.
Hold on.
I think you can.
I can. Yeah, I can. Hold on. Let me get it from my computer and then email it to myself and then copy.
Okay.
Don't
you
dox
can do
me,
that.
okay?
Yeah, because I'm gonna show people on the screen to be able to dox you. Why would I do that? That's horrible.
I don't know. I'm just saying in general. Okay.
Did you actually think it was a risk that I would dox you?
No, I don't think he would dox me. It was more of rhetoric, but okay.
Okay. Alrighty. It was just rhetoric for the stream.
Yeah. Don't you like clipping things?
I mean, yeah, I do clip things for the stream.
Okay.
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 Alrighty,
so-
Miranda, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Everyone does not like you for some reason. They think you're pretty insufferable. Toby,
Me?
thank you so much. Yeah, Toby, thank you so much for the $12. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Give some W's for Toby in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Exactly that, Toby. Well,
Okay,
thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. As well as Kylene, thank you so much for the appreciate the $5. Summer with the $5. Thank you very much. Thomas, thank you for the $2. Kieran, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you very much. Ken, thank you so much for the $5. Piscos, thank you so much for the $2. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Morgan, thank you so much for the $1. Angel, thank you so much for the $20. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Get some W's for them in the comment section right now. Thank you very much. As well as Lynn, thank you so much for the $5. Blake with the $5. Ellie, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you very much. Rebel, thank you for the $5. Brittany, thank you for the $5. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And Bobby, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you very much. Alrighty.
Okay, so I have it. I don't think it. Hold on. So the funny thing is when you go to like when I send this to you and you go to accept my message request, you're gonna see that I've messaged you before and you have to accept my request so that I can send this because I can't send 2 messages in a row.
Delete one of the messages because I won't be able to find you in the message requests.
I don't know if you can do that. I'll try. I cannot do that, but I'm gonna send it to my friend and she's gonna send it to you.
Let me just click on this. I don't want to click. Oh, dude, Jesus Christ, you're on private, so I literally can't look at the message request that you sent.
Oh. Well, it's like.
Just send it after. I'm gonna probably go into the next person anyway. Sarah, think of the money gun. Is there any final
You
words?
can just look it up. Her name is Peyton McNabb. Just look up Peyton McNabb volleyball.
How about you just send it to me? Or you can send it to me
because
over
you're not
Instagram,
going to check it. Because I know 100% you're not going to check it.
Okay, you say I'm not going to check it. What makes you think I would check it now then? Okay, so send it. I can look it up. I don't think you're going to do research on any of the points I brought up. How many points did I bring up that you are not going to look up later? You're still going to support Trump even though he raped a woman.
I have everything written down. I really do. I promise. I'm
And you're going to
not.
do
I know
research
that.
and you're going to watch the deposition?
I know that I come off as very disingenuous. I promise you, it's just my tone.
It's not your tone, it's what you're saying.
Okay, well, I promise that I'm not in general disingenuous.
Well, the
I
arguments
have.
typically don't indicate that to be the case, though.
Okay, I mean, I didn't even really give you like an argument. I just told you things that I agreed with.
Yeah, that would be like an argument. By the way, you've been on the live for 2 hours, and you think that you
Have I
haven't given
really?
me yes, sadly, and you think that you haven't given me an argument this entire time.
Well, I mean like a P1, P2, like that. I haven't given you that is what I'm talking about.
Yes, you did, but okay, maybe not in like in a formal setting, but you did. All right. Any last words?
Um, Wait, can I think about it for like 10 seconds? Give me something
Yeah,
really good.
sure.
Okay. Um, I can't do it under this kind of pressure, Parker. I can't. Uh, you're gonna be so mad at me. Like, you're actually gonna fucking hate me.
Secondly,
Are you,
just want to clarify, if you look up Snopes and the person that you mentioned, literally, there's insufficient evidence to say that the person who even did it was trans in the first place.
the Peyton McNabb?
Yeah.
Well, I know her, so
According to North Carolina's High School Athletes Association, only 2 trans girls were in the state were allowed to compete in high school sports 2019 to 2023. It's unclear whether either participated in volleyball. However, McNabb's school board appeared to have also believed the athlete was transgender. That's what they claim. Credible evidence suggests, as many social media users claim, that McNabb continued to play competitive varsity high level basketball and softball just a few months after the volleyball incident. Without more details, McNabb, it is impossible to verify the extent or severity of her symptoms. Diagnoses like traumatic brain injury, which McNabb said she sustained, can also be delayed by weeks or even years, meaning McNabb's participation in competitive sports following volleyball incident does not definitively disprove her story. That's true.
I mean, I would just say
Um,
that I know her and I know that she still struggles, but
was there any evidence that that they were trans?
that they
The
were
person who did
trans.
this?
I don't think like I don't think that this article talks about who it specifically was, which I'm sure they can't say that because the person was a minor at the time, obviously. So I don't even know if you can write about
It's
that stuff.
unclear
But
whether or not the trans girls even played volleyball, because there were only 2 that
where do you
played
see
between
that?
2019 to 2023 from Snopes.
Where are you seeing that?
On Snopes, I just told you. Unpacking
Snaps?
claims about Snopes. Snopes.
SNOPES or PP? No, okay, wait, I got it. I said P.
Snopes.
I see it. Unpacking claims about Peyton McNabb, anti-trans activist and volleyball athlete. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're reading. I would just like, I mean, I gave you the source for what happened. You can dispute it. I would just say that I know the person, so I know what happened. Um,
And you know for a fact that the person was trans.
I talked to them,
To the
which I'm
person who
not
did
saying
it,
that
or to the person who this happened from?
the person who did it, and I was there at the game.
So you know that person's trans.
I mean, I'm not saying that I can always tell when somebody's trans or not,
So
but
wait, I'm asking, do you know personally that they are trans?
like they didn't disclose that they were trans, but I talked to them and it was pretty obvious.
What? They didn't disclose to you that they're trans, and yet you're claiming that they're trans.
Yeah, I'm claiming that they're male.
But wait, I'm sorry. Do you have any justification for that other than you're claiming that?
I mean,
Like, have they told you
16-year-olds.
this?
No. But do you not think that it's likely? that if I
What?
specifically had a conversation,
You just made this whole argument that they were trans. I'm sorry, like, you don't even know yourself, and yet you're saying that that's evidence?
you don't think that it's likely that this person is trans if multiple sources claim it, as well as the fact that
No,
like I'm giving you an
I don't think them
anecdote?
just claiming it is evidence. Especially if the only thing that you have to justify is just you feel like it. And they haven't even said it to you.
You don't think that it's hard to tell when a 16-year-old is trans because they don't typically have access to gender affirming care on things that are going to specifically alter the way they phenotypically
I mean,
present at that
I'm not
age.
familiar with the circumstances. I don't think that you're going to be able to tell the difference between who's trans and who's not in a plenty of circumstances.
I mean, I'm just telling, like, no, I don't know for sure.
Okay, so then how can you make this claim even? That's what we mean. There's insufficient evidence to even say that they were trans in the first place. And that's the one example that you could provide?
I would say that more evidence points towards them being trans than not.
Okay. I have a question. What high school district did they go to? And what state was it located in?
Bro, I'm not trying to dox myself. I thought we went over this.
Well, I mean,
Okay,
you literally...
it starts
how
with the high school,
how about this? How about this? What state?
North Carolina.
Okay, you're right. I was just making sure. I'm sorry, you already did that, by the way, when you literally told us the name of the person. That's
I
why I
know,
told
I
you to
kind of
privately
doxed
DM it to
myself.
me. You did that to yourself. That's not even me.
I know. I'm
Because
gonna get
everyone
death
looked
threats
that up,
after
and it's
this.
on all of the fucking news articles that we just talked about. So
I know.
I
I'm gonna
told
get.
you shouldn't have done that.
I don't live there anymore, so it's fine.
Okay, you're fine then. Yeah, there's no big deal.
Because I moved like when I graduated, so like.
Okay, alrighty. Well, any last words? Actually, I'm good. I can't do it anymore. It's been over 2 hours. That is way too long to talk to someone. I'm sorry, everyone. I did not even notice it was 2 hours. That's way too fucking long. My brain hurts, dude. Jesus Christ, man. Kieran, thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Very true. Cis women with PCOS have facial hair and male pattern baldness. Will she claim they are trans? Maybe. Nova, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm so sorry to hear that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that I can provide community. Well, thank you so much. Miranda as well. Thank you for the $5. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.